Authority as part of DEWA's Innovation Week and the UAE Innovation Month. UAE Innovates 2024. We begin the event with a virtual message by Engineer Marwan bin Haider, the Executive Vice President of the Innovation and Future Division within Dubai Electricity and Water Authority.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the Future Next conference organized by the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority DEWA in conjunction with the UAE Innovates activities. This is a part of DEWA efforts to support the vision and directives of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE, ruler of Dubai, to provide an environment that fosters creativity and innovation across all sectors. With guidance of His Excellency Saeed Mohammed Al Tayer, MD and CEO of DEWA, we support the different government plans and strategies, including the National Strategy for Advanced Innovation, which aims to position the UAE among the world's top leaders of innovation. This conference supports the Dubai Innovation Strategy to make Dubai the most innovative city in the world. DEWA's efforts in innovation within energy and water sectors has resulted in world-class results. DEWA is the first government entity to include the words of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai. The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it, into the three main phases of its innovation and future shaping framework to become imagine, design, and implement. We have enriched our services with artificial intelligence technologies such as ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot to customers, employees, and stakeholders. Honored guests, future shaping is pivotal goal for us and the cornerstone for developing our services and initiatives and achieving our ambitions and aspirations. Our programs, projects, and initiatives in innovation and adopting the latest disruptive technologies of the fourth industrial revolution have contributed to DEWA achieving global competitive results in various fields, making DEWA a role model in efficiency and excellence, achieving top global positions in various indicators. We are proud of DEWA's many accomplishments and will continue to innovate unique experiences and proactive solutions that strengthen the UAE position as a global hub for innovation. We also continue to support innovators, enhance their capabilities, and empower them to implement their ideas and turn them into pioneering projects. We aim to make innovation at work, culture, and lifestyle for a brighter and more sustainable future for us and for generations to come. I wish you a fruitful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Marwan bin Haider. Distinguished guests, as Engineer Marwan bin Haider highlighted, innovation is a pivotal goal for DEWA. We will now watch a short video about DEWA's most notable achievements.
Dubai is a city where the impossible becomes a reality. And Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, DEWA, is central to Dubai's ongoing development. With a vision to be a globally leading sustainable innovative corporation, we are more than a utility company. We are a lifestyle provider, powering the future. serving the 3.5 million residents of Dubai and its millions of visitors each year, with the highest standards of efficiency, quality, reliability. DEWA has a clear strategy to help Dubai achieve its goal of producing 100% of its energy from clean sources by 2050. Promoting sustainable development with pioneering and innovative green projects. Making people happier and enriching lives with 100% smart services. Focusing on research and development to continuously improve our operations with the latest disruptive technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. DEWA is shaping a brighter and more sustainable future for generations to come.
Gentlemen, we began today's program with a speech on digital transformation. I'm pleased to ask Mr. Khalid bin Chelban, Deputy Manager of Digital Products Management at DEWA, to join us on stage.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You can hear me? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I know it's a bit early, so we'll try. It will be smooth presentation for you, clear and precise, and hopefully it will be a great conference for today. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this great conference. I will start with a small question. Imagine if you are at home with a relaxed mood and suddenly you receive a message from DEWA asking you to pay a bill like 20,000 dirham. And this is like a very strange for you. You are not used to pay this amount. Imagine your mood in that day. What you will do? You start wearing your clothes, driving fast to DEWA in order to ask what happened, why this amount is very huge to me. And then once you reach to DEWA, they will tell you the amount because of your usage. Okay, you will tell them, okay, I don't use to pay this amount of money. And then, with a long story short, you will find, because, for example, a high water usage. In this presentation, inshallah, we'll find one of the initiatives we implemented in DEWA in order to overcome with this issue. So stay tuned and focus in order to know which of the initiatives we did in order to overcome with this. Let's talk about digital transformation in DEWA. So we'll talk about the visionary leadership, DEWA's strategy, and we are proud of digital transformation initiatives. We are inspired with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai, when he say, and he always push us to work 24/7 for 365 days, like hotels and like hospitals, to be always there and always live for our initiatives and strategy. And also we are inspired with His Excellency Saeed Mohammed Al-Tayar, who always push us to innovate, to explore, in order to be the benchmark and always be the best in our region and our UAE country. Our vision, a global leading sustainable innovative cooperation committed to achieving a net zero by 2050. It's very ambitious and vision. Why? Why we reach these ambitions? Because we have a fine-tuned strategic objective and strategic in DEWA that implemented in a very proper way. DEWA strategy, when we talk about DEWA strategy is a very rich strategy and very rich balanced scorecard. And in this case, when we talk about the digital transformation, we are talking about that the digital transformation is embedded in every sector of this strategy. For example, if we are talking about the learning and growth, we'll fund enabling AI disruptive digital technology. When we talk about the internal process, we are in leading innovative customer experience. It's in the leading integrated, resilient, and agile frameworks. It's there in the leading corporate security system, leading through digital DEWA, in disruptive technology, including AI, robotics, space, and IoT. As a stakeholder, engaged and happy stakeholders, and the triple bottom line, optimized cost. But we didn't stop there. We implemented our digital house of strategy. We implemented in-house in our division, in the innovation and the future. It's been updated quarterly. Every quarter we add a new technology. Every quarter we add new goals. Every quarter we add new initiatives. Why? To reach our digital ambition, to be the most innovative digital cooperation with a superior of the stakeholder proposition. In DEWA, we are proud of being the first large government entities by 98% in instant customer happiness meter in 2023. The first government entity in Dubai by smart adoption rate by 99.6 in 2023. The first government entity in Dubai reaching 100% in website with category AA accessibility and the 10 out of 10 in app accessibility in 2022. The first globally scored 100% in the International Digital Customer Experience Standards Worldwide Assessment in 2022. As a global benchmark, we reached world benchmarking customer minutes lost for the electricity by 1.06 minutes in 2023, and a world benchmark and accounted for water by 4.5% in 22. And as digital quotient by the McKinsey and Company, they rated us as the first global utility leader in digital quotient and the 3% among the 3 percentile of the companies. We are proud of the first utility in the world to enrich its services with the ChatGPT technology in 2023, the first company utility organization in the world to adopt the Microsoft Copilot in its operation, and more, and it will keep continuing without ending. This is how our leadership and our top management encourage us to be one of the top companies in the world. Let's move to the digital transformation initiatives. We are having a lot of digital transformation initiatives, but because of sake of the time, I will try to go through the basics one, which we are already know about it, and the we are most impatient on that. So let's start with the digital transformation roadmap. In digital transformation roadmap, when we talk about digital transformation roadmap, every cycle, the cycle consists of every 3 years we start a new cycle. We started our first cycle in 2022 and ended up in 2023. And inshallah, this year we'll be starting our second cycle and will be end up by 2027. Let's go back to 2022. In 2020. In 2020, we started with more than 500 use cases. We shrink the number until we reach 69 use cases. And these 69 use cases for implementation, we categorize them into 3 waves. We cut them into 3 waves for the implementation. And based on that, for these use cases distribution, we distributed among 6 types of portfolio. And this type of portfolio depends on the technology. For example, we have AI and data analytics, enterprise system, RPA automation, smart visualization, operation technology, and mobility. So all these 69 use cases, we distributed them among these 6 use cases distribution, or 6 digital portfolios, we can say. But what is the special recipe behind the success of the transformation in DEWA? We have, as we know, 13 divisions in DEWA, and in each divisions we have more than 1 champions. How we created these champions? We implemented something in the change management. We established a digital transformation champion. These champions are our ambassadors in their divisions. So what they will do, these champions, they will be our focal point between us and the government in order to receive a new initiatives. They will be our focal point between us and their division in order to come up with a new solutions, new initiatives, and new escalation, for example, from the division in order to accelerate the implementation, and so on. Moving to the SAP. SAP is one of the, we are proud to implement the SAP. SAP, we started the first wave in 2009, and they are using a special technique. Start small and move fast. So in 2019, we started in a small section in finance and billing. Moving to the second wave in 2012, we started the second wave, adding the core business. In 2016, we started the third wave as adding the operation business functions. In 2022, we started with wave 4, adding more business functions. In 2023, we implemented, alhamdulillah, by end of the 2023, the S4 HANA, SAP S4 HANA, which is one of our great achievements in the SAP journey. And in 2024, our esteemed team, they already started with the SAP RISE migration. Moving to DEWA website. DEWA website, as we call it, our face to the customer. And as we know that the DEWA focusing always in satisfying the customer and make them always happy. So the website is the front page of our DEWA. So in the DEWA website, we are providing more than 22 main services. And we are serving the consumer, building suppliers, and the students. And as we know in DEWA, we are first utility and the first in the UAE government to use the ChatGPT in the DEWA's website. And we are always using the AI-powered sign language. We are using new payment gateway integration. And as always, alhamdulillah, every year we are receiving a great feedback and a great scores for satisfaction of the customer for DEWA website. Smart living. When we talk about smart living, it consists of many initiatives and many features in DEWA. Smart living consists of, like, for example, we can say one of the features called My Sustainability Living Program, MSLP. And this function or these smart living initiatives are available in DEWA store, in DEWA application and DEWA website. Let's talk about smart living. When DEWA send us the bill for payment, we are not just giving you the amount for payment. No, we are giving you some hints in order to reduce your consumption of water and electricity. We are giving you some tips. We are giving you advices how to reduce that. And I think it's very rare to find a company worldwide, a company as a utility of DEWA for electricity and water encourages their customers to reduce their consumption of DEWA and water. And as we say, the water and the electricity is one of the profits coming to the company. Also, we are receiving, we have this feature. I really like it, and most of us like it. There is like a neighborhood comparison. For example, in DEWA app, you can find that something under the MSLP, the Main Sustainability Living Program, you can compare your consumption between you and your neighbors. For example, you can check your consumption of water and electricity, and you can compare it and compete your neighborhoods who will be able to reach the best or optimum usage of water and electricity. What else? Always DEWA will be sending you an exclusive offers using DEWA store and the vendors registered in DEWA store. And last but not least, the high water usage alert. And back to the first question which I asked you in the beginning, the high water usage. When we talk about the high water usage, in the past it was consist of 6 steps, but now it's 2 steps. In the past, the 6 steps, the full cycle ended up in 25 days, and the final bill will get it after the final bill. The resolution or the result, you will get it in the final bill. But alhamdulillah, now, once you receive any high notification of water usage, the smart meter, which is inserted or installed in our premises, it will automatically send a notification to the SAP system. And once it's received by SAP, you will immediately receive a notification that your consumption is very high. Immediately, you will take an action. You will call with any DEWA's approved contractor in order to come and solve the problem and avoid the high bill for payment. Smart response. In a smart response, it's a method where we increase the awareness of the customer in order to let them solve the problem by themselves. How? We let them talk to the Rammas. Rammas is our virtual agent. And Rammas is it's an Arabic word which means a talkative or who talks many, but with a great science, you know. So he is talking a lot, but with an informative way. In smart response, when the customer talk to the Rammas, he will start giving you some questions in order to answer the problem you have. So he'll keep you sending some question in order to understand the full issue, and he will give you an answer immediately. And this Rammas, who is touching with the customer, we call him Rammas for you. And there is another Rammas, which the employees in DEWA use them. We call him Rammas at work. Back to Rammas for you. Once he gives you the answers, you will start solve the problem you have, and this reduces the physical sites visit for electricity by 72.3%, and for 59% reduction visits for water. Customer satisfaction, 93.2 for the electricity and 95.8 for water. And we ended up by 2.3 million estimated average saving for the electricity and 8.6 million average annual saving in 2023 for the water. Electrical vehicle chargers. MashaAllah, most of us, they own an electrical car, so they are using the electrical charger in every area or every zone in Dubai. We are targeting in 2024 to reach more than 1,000 EV green charging installation. Number of registered EV green charger by December 2023, we reached around 13,959. And those are the pictures of the EV charging and types and standards which DEWA provide. So whenever you go to charge your car, you will find these electrical machines with a logo sign. Those are installed by DEWA and with approved standards and specifications. Let's talk about DEWA Smart Office Super App. This application, we use it internally. Every single employee, I don't think there is any single employee who is not using our application, Smart Office. So in the Smart Office, the employee, he will be able to punch in, punch out. He will be able to approve the smart document. He will be able to collaborate with his colleagues. He will be able to approve the smart documents with the management, and so on and so forth. So many tasks are there, and we counted, and I think it's more than 478 services and functions in the DEWA app. More than 44 million transactions. And it has been used by DEWA user more than 11,000, and most of the services, 66% for the smart document, 29% for SAP services, and 5% for Khadamatic. And this is, I'm talking about the numbers till yesterday, but maybe by today and tomorrow the numbers will be increasing. DEWA's employees always keep adding features and adding technology to their services. And always, as we said, DEWA focuses to their customers and their employees, increases their satisfaction to be always the leading organization in UAE. Thank you so much. وسامحونا على القصور لو طولنا وياكم. يعطيكم العافية.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid bin Kalban. This was a great presentation. I now welcome Ms. Nermeen Al-Ahmadi, Data Solution and AI Specialist at Microsoft, delivering a keynote speech about AI-powered utilities, driving innovation and efficiency with generative AI.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. So, first to start, any guesses of how many days it took generative AI or ChatGPT to reach 1 million users? Yeah? Perfect. I can see a lot of guesses. It actually took ChatGPT 5 days to reach 1 million users. Whereas you would see a lot of applications like Instagram, for example, it took them 2.5 months, and something like Netflix took it 3.5 years. So this is one of the technology that we see that is hitting literally every single industry and every single line of business. If we look at utilities, we see it literally touching every single line of business within utilities. And one of the studies that is done by PwC, it estimates that only in GCC area, by 2030, the market for Gen AI alone will be $45 billion. So 8.2 of the GDP of the whole GCC area will be coming from AI. There's a lot of echo. I don't know. Yeah? Okay, perfect. So let's take a step back and think what's generative AI. So if we look at generative AI, it is under the holistic umbrella of AI. Generative AI is the ability to create, whether it's text, audio, and very recently we saw even video being created just from a text or from a prompt. So when we look at OpenAI and we look at ChatGPT, basically OpenAI is one of the founders of ChatGPT. We see there are many models within generative AI that can be used in many of the use cases. We see things like GPT 3.5 or GPT-4 for those who have used OpenAI. We see also very new models that are introduced, which are multimodal. So today, you can speak to the model not only with text, but you can also add images or audio and be able to have a conversation, or be able to generate an images or videos or even audio. So one of the things that Microsoft is heavily investing in, and I think DEWA really pioneering in being one of the first governmental entities across the UAE to really adopt generative AI across, one of the first things is Copilot. So within Copilot, we're introducing Copilot within every single one of the Microsoft products. So if we look at basically all of our Office portfolio, if we look at GitHub, if we look at our data platform, our low-code and no-code, all of those contain their own Copilot across. So let's take an example and have a deeper look at what we're doing, for example, in Teams. So within Teams itself, within Copilot, you have the ability to automatically have the summary of what's happening within the meeting. If you've missed any part of the meeting, you can ask any question about it, and it will be able to tell you who said what, at what time, and so on. And it will automatically generate the notes and the tasks for every single person. We also see, for example, within Outlook, the ability to write emails very quickly, being able to draft that email, just give it a prompt and it will draft the email for you, but also the ability to get a summary of all the pending items or all of the emails that you have within the organization. As I mentioned before, DEWA has already piloted on a number of basically licenses that are being tested from a Copilot perspective, and basically the plan for an expansion. Another thing that also DEWA is currently testing is around Power BI Copilot. So here, for example, you can automatically say what you want to generate, and it will generate the report for you. So you can imagine, instead of spending literally hours to create any report, you can just write a prompt, select what you want. It will analyze the data, and it will automatically generate that report for you. So taking it further, let's look at some of the use cases that we see within internal functions. This is one of the use cases that we see within HR, the ability to literally have a GPT companion from an HR perspective, be able to ask it anything about policies, procedures, automatically booking the vacation, getting the pay slip, or for example, as the manager, being able to understand what are the pending approvals that you have, and automatically within the application, being able to approve basically all of the pending items that you have. Even if you want to book your vacation, even if you want to get your pay slip, if you want to expense anything, all of that can be done on the fly with a GPT companion. One of the other areas that we also see is using the same GPT companion as an onboarding body to be able to pass all of the knowledge that an organization would have, and being able to ask it any question for any person that is new to the organization, and being able to get the answer immediately. Another area where we see OpenAI or generative AI playing a big role is in procurement and in negotiating contracts. So this is one of the use cases that we have done internally as Microsoft, where what we wanted to do is the ability to check all of the contracts that we have and help the procurement team in negotiating any of the contracts. So in this scenario, you will see it is automatically connected to the back end, to the procurement system, and you can add or get the summary of any contract. You can also understand certain metrics within the contract, and you can talk to it in any language. So here you can see Chinese, German, Arabic, all of the different languages would be supported. So here, for example, I'm asking it to analyze a certain purchase pattern of a supplier, and it's telling me how much I'm spending with a certain supplier, what are the categories, what are the subcategories, and so on. Taking it further, it also has the ability to, when you are negotiating any contract, to look at your standard clauses as an organization and have the ability to analyze all of that contract and tell you where there are certain risks that you need to have a look at. So in this scenario, I'm running it against my standard clauses, and it highlighted the areas that I need to review personally. And it even suggests a way to be able to correct basically those contracts that you are currently negotiating. Of course, in all of these scenarios, we call them as co-pilot and not a pilot, because at the end of the day, the person that is in charge is the actual pilot, and Gen AI is only there to support you and to boost your productivity. One of the other areas that we see that Gen AI is gaining a lot of momentum is within multimodality, which is basically the ability to analyze not only text and images, but also videos. So in that scenario, you can be monitoring any video, and you have the ability to get automatically a summary of what is happening, and you have the ability to search for certain risks or violations. Let's say within basically a certain area where safety is very important, you can check for safety requirements and be able to highlight where there are potential risks that are happening in those scenarios and be able to point them out. So we've covered a lot about the internal functions. We also see Gen AI playing a pivotal role within external functions. So of course, having the ability to have a conversation with any of basically the citizens and being able to give them all of the use cases that they need. Once again, we're working very closely with DEWA across basically RMAS. but also the ability to add a lot of the basically voice capabilities or the avatar-like solutions to be able to have a more personalized experience. So in this scenario, I basically took a video of myself having a conversation with a Gen AI digital avatar.
It's so wonderful to meet you. I'm Nova. Before we begin, let's get the formalities out of the way. Do you consent to this sole machine's privacy statement? I do. Thank you for that. To get started, why not ask me what I know about the company you work for? Do you know anything about Microsoft?
Please bear in mind it's seeing my face and it's reacting accordingly. So if I'm smiling, it will smile back. If I'm frowning, it will keep a straight face.
Yes, I know Microsoft is a technology company that develops computer software and hardware. I'm also aware they are one of the largest companies in the world, and their products are used by people all over the world. Tell me something about soul machines.
So imagine this could be literally the digital avatar that will be in any service center that is interacting end-to-end with the customer and can give any information that is required. One of the next areas that we see is call centers. Of course, with call centers, there are several areas that Gen AI touches upon. We've seen part with the self-service, being able to ask any questions, but two other areas are an agent co-pilot, which is basically the ability to give an agent all of the information that he needs as the call is happening and being able to enhance the experience of basically the agent, as well as understanding what's happening within the call center itself. So let's see another example. So in this scenario, you're going to see a call happening with an emergency service and what kind of insight that you'll be able to derive. You can see the suggestions on the bottom.
All separate networks of dealers and service providers near your location and find the best option for you. Please stay on the line while I do that. Okay, good news. I found a nearby dealer who can send a repair truck to your location within an hour. They will also send your truck to the shop if needed.
Thank you so much. You know, you're a lifesaver.
You're very welcome, friend, and hope things get resolved shortly. Bye now.
So you can see during the call, everything is from an agent perspective. There's a co-pilot that's helping them get the right information and put it at their hands to be able to resolve issues way faster and to be able to literally get the information to the customer. But once again, here you can see I can extract any kind of information from the calls. What's the main reason of the call, or what's the sentiment of the customer, or how did the agent actually handle that conversation? So with that being said, if we take a step back and look at the areas or use cases that we see three main internal use cases. First one is actually modernizing and improving the internal processes that exist within any organization. The second one is delivering a differentiated customer experience. And the third one is looking at generating new revenue streams or new ideas out of the box within basically generative AI. Of course, every single department would have a list of use cases and list of deep dive use cases that you have, whether it is core utilities, whether it's internal functions or others. I will leave you with this. This is one of the studies that is done by BCG. They had two groups. One of the groups, they gave them GPT-4, and the other group did not have that. And one of the things that they were able to find out is that people who were using generative AI were able to complete 12% more tasks, 25% faster, and 40% more quality. So imagine if this is the effect that it has on basically consultants, the effect of it having on basically every single department within DEWA. So thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nermeen. This was a very insightful presentation. Distinguished guests, to speak about the role of artificial intelligence in renewable energy at DEWA, we will now hear from Dr. Vivian Albert, Senior Researcher at DEWA.
I can just tap it. Okay. Can I tap it to go on? Next one I tap.
Yeah. This one. Can change it.
Which one?
Yeah, this one.
This one?
Yeah.
Next one. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. While I'm trying to sort out the technology here, I would like to thank you for inviting me to present this, let's call it a quick summary of what research we are doing at DEWA R&D. For people who don't know, our Research and Development Center is just next to the Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park, the biggest solar park, single solar park in the world. It's 2.5 gigawatts and it's expanding to 5 gigawatts within the next 3 to 4 years. So it's an amazing project, and I think all researchers at DEWA R&D are privileged to focus our research on improving technology which is relevant to DEWA. So renewables is broad. I'm not going to deal today with all the options, but focus on solar energy, right? Solar research, because it's a core business of DEWA. I will highlight and I will show you basically what research we are focusing on, why it's important for DEWA, and be aware that I will talk about some high-level technology we're developing and some core business like performance and reliability of systems and modules. So I will try to deal with all the critical aspects of our research and try to implement and to demonstrate how our artificial intelligence is used to improve the quality of research, the quality of a product, the quality of a system, and value for DEWA. I will firstly just to highlight, this is important to understand, that we are currently focusing on various aspects of research and development. It's not only about performance and reliability. On the right-hand side, a very important fact, or very important part of research is, of course, to ensure that the modules, PV modules, products we're using in the solar parks are top state-of-the-art, top technology. But in the last few years, we have also started now to develop a solar cell technology. So we're developing new labs at DEWA R&D where we can actually manufacture new generation solar cells. We're also developing a module development lab where we can take the solar cells into modules, and the performance and reliability, and of course, very important, which I will highlight also today, is the solar resource assessment and forecasting. Of course, we have a biggest solar park in the world at one single site. That is great, but the disadvantage, of course, is any small sudden changes in weather will dramatically impact on the energy production of a single solar park. It's not a distributed solar park. It's a single solar park site, and therefore we have some risk, and we have to use technologies to improve that. Just to get quickly to solar cell development. So we all know silicon is used for the solar modules. We are now developing at DEWA R&D a state-of-art new generations perovskite laboratory where we're actually manufacturing very complicated solar cells which is either replacing silicon or supplementing silicon by forming tandem devices. So we're trying to improve the efficiency of current solar cells from 24% to above 50% in efficiency. This is an important development. Why I'm highlighting this is because I want to demonstrate how we use AI in this case. So the most important material is that perovskite in the middle. You can see it's a very complicated material. It delivers, of course, high efficiency, but it contains lead, which is bad for the environment, and although it's material. So therefore, high potential, but still some commercial restrictions. And in this slide, I just demonstrate how we use AI, specifically machine learning, to discover new materials. So this paper we published last year, my team. So we're talking about the perovskite semiconductor material, and now we're using machine learning. We're basically using the band gap as the important parameter. The band gap, of course, determines at the end the amount of sunlight absorbed by the solar cell. And then we sort of, that table shows you, we use the primary features. This is the features that influence the band gap of a semiconductor. There are many of them: ionic radius, electron negativity, electron affinity, etc. We look at the different cations and anions. We determine sensitivity. We then build various descriptors, which is basically the band gap values from this. And we then use symbolic regression, which is a machine learning technique to basically discover, invent, or develop a theoretical compound material which is suitable for lead-free stable perovskites. And we can see how it works. We can use, for example, a very simple model where we use only one parameter, ionic radius, and then you have like 10,000 different possible compounds. And then we make it more complicated with two-dimensional, three-dimensional, four-dimensional, five-dimensional models where we incorporate more of the features of band gap dependency. And then we can reduce these options to something practical. So what it basically means, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to the lab, you can spend many years of research to try to hit and run, hit and trial and hit, to get this perfect compound, which has a stability and high efficiency. Or you can do what we do here. And this helps a lot because we have a team of workers, a team of researchers working on machine learning, modeling, and the experimental lab. And we integrate this into the lab. On the right-hand side, I missed this. It's supposed to be one slide. But there you can see how we calculate the band gap values for these compounds. And these compounds are then actually manufactured or fabricated in our labs. Also similar, I think all of you have done science and technology. You know about X-ray diffraction. Just give you a very simple example. Perovskite is a very complicated material, and if you now start changing the band gap and the composition of the perovskites, you will have very complicated XRD patterns, and of course it can take a human many weeks to go through all these databases, analysis, or you can simply use what we do, machine learning models, to take the XRD pattern, the experimental result, match it with a database, and find the perfect materials which we are looking for. So this is another good example. This is a very practical example. What happens in production these days, manufacturing of solar modules. 10 years ago in China, the production facilities were 500 megawatts, 1 gigawatt. That was enormous. Now at the 1 gigawatt level, your cycle time is about 30 seconds. That means every 30 seconds a module is manufactured. At all the production steps, every 30 seconds a process is completed to give you a module. If you go to 10 gigawatt, which is today the norm in China, the cycle time goes to 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Obviously, it's impossible for humans to analyze the data, quality control. So basically, that's examples where you normally, before you do lamination of modules and after lamination, at critical process steps, you actually check the electroluminescence and the UV patterns, which is every module that passes get a pattern which you have to look at, the human, and has to interpret results. If there's any defects, it's a yes, fail, or pass mode. So this is impossible to do for humans at the 10 gigawatt level. So we use machine learning now, identifying patterns and defects in modules to improve the quality. This is something we do currently developing in DEWA R&D, where we basically design drones with infrared cameras, thermal cameras, and these cameras are flying across our solar parks. And of course, what's very important, is these thermal cameras on the drones equipped with AI, machine learning techniques, will identify hotspots on these solar parks. A hotspot normally is where solar cells may have cracked, micro cracks, soldering errors, and these hotspots are very important to detect. You can imagine in a 2.5 gigawatt solar park, you cannot do it manually. It needs to be done by drones. And the hotspot identification is very critical because it's a fire hazard, right? So solar parks can burn, and these hotspots are detected by our drones with thermal cameras equipped with AI. This is very important new development we're doing at DEWA R&D. This is a typical IV curve of a string. So we're integrating fundamental physics principles, that means semiconductor physics, into artificial algorithms. And this enables us, you can imagine, if you have inverters, string inverters in a solar park, there are 1,000 inverters producing hundreds of thousands of these IV curves annually. And to analyze it in the conventional way is impossible, all the strings. So basically what we have developed is the normal IV curve, which can be detected for a normal string operating under normal conditions. And now we have developed some techniques how we can see how that curve deviates from a normal curve due to soiling, fill factors, shear resistances, cell cracks, etc. So we have at least 6 different curves which we know directly relates to a certain fault in the string, and this is analyzed by machine learning, artificial intelligence, to within seconds determine whether the specific module in a string or a string itself is faulty. This is a very interesting project, and I think it's got a huge commercial potential. Also, going to a higher level, if you want to analyze the performance of a solar park, we can develop so-called digital twins, a virtual model. The virtual model in this case is a solar park. It could be a wind park. It could be any other renewable application. And basically what we have in the solar parks is a lot of sensors, physical sensors that produce data. This data is about the electrical yields of solar panels, strings, weather data. It's a massive amount of data. And of course, we use this data as been analyzed by AI, and we run virtual models on the performance of a solar park. This is very important because the solar asset manager can early detect faulty or defective areas in a solar park. And of course, this implies you can do predictive maintenance. You can predict before the fault occurs, before there's damage to the component or the system, to replace or to repair. And this is a very important concept which is already used in France. And I think this is something DEWA probably also will look at in future. Okay, so another one of our teams working on forecasting. Of course, very important, I pointed out already, Mohammed bin Rashid Solar Park is the largest single site solar park, right? So you can imagine the production of energy can ramp up and down depending on the weather conditions. And the most important parameter we have to predict real-time prediction is the GHI, Global Horizontal Irradiance. And this can be done, what we have done, for example, in this project, is to mount at least 5 or 6 sky cameras in critical areas around the solar park. The sky camera will then, of course, the GHI value is critically influenced by cloud cover and the movement of clouds. So there's a big difference in terms of power generation on a clear sky day versus a cloudy day. So basically, we are able to detect the clouds. We use AI to segment the clouds, to improve the imaging. And then, of course, this is connected also to a robot. The biggest issue we saw until now, the problem with this technology is sky cameras becomes dusty because of soiling. And it takes a lot of effort to clean these sky cameras in the field. And what we have now developed is an automatic cleaning system, which has been patented by DEWA R&D, where the data, the sensor from the sky cameras analyze the data and tells the robot to clean the sky cameras automatically. So these are very important applications for DEWA. This shows you the original sky camera view and how we implement AI for segmentation. And of course, the previous slide shows sky cameras, right? That is nowcasting. Within minutes, 5-10 minutes, you can inform the manager of a solar park what is going on in terms of the weather. In terms of more long-term, 6 hours, 10 hours, we're using satellite images. And this is very important. Satellite images give you a lot of information, but in order to manage that and to analyze it, we use deep learning, machine learning techniques. And very important, we can use this technique to follow and to apply it to the movement of clouds. So we can see where the clouds are now, and in an hour or 2 or 3 hours from now, 6 hours from now, it will reach the solar park, and therefore you have to prepare your system for ramp up or ramp downs. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are just some examples of what we do at DEWA R&D, where we apply AI. Of course, the fact of the matter is solar energy is today the cheapest form of electricity already, energy, right? So there's no doubt that AI and related technologies will in future push the price and quality even lower. So it's a bright future for solar, and I think hopefully this presentation gives you some insight into that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Albert. Honored guests, we will now take a 20 minutes break before we continue with the conference program. as digital ethics.
Let me put
Yes,
my
sir.
present-
We can hear you, yes.
Okay. Can you please let me know if you can? Can you see my presentation?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Excellent. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to this important event. I look forward to our discussion over the coming 20 minutes. I just wanted maybe to stress that the concepts I'm going to present here are really just primers. These are initial concepts I think are good conversation starters. So I wanted maybe to start with ethics in general. When we talk about digital ethics, obviously the operative words here are digital and ethics. Ethics is not something that is new, it's something that has been around for millennia, and it really is about making the right decisions and doing, knowing what is right and what is wrong. It informs regulation, but as the definition goes, it goes beyond obligations, which is usually what we refer to from a compliance perspective, to also duties, which is what we ought to do, not just what we need to do. And so digital ethics is really a reflection of ethics on the conduct of electronic interactions. And it has become more and more important over the past few years, as we will see. So if we start really from the early days when we started really, talking about the topic of digital ethics, this started with social media when we started having, smartphones and large amount of data that's coming through social media. There was a recognition that there is an amplification effect that social media can create. We talk about echo chambers. Social media can actually create effects on the ground based on these very large volumes of data interactions. And that has been used also for some behavior manipulation. So, the data has a positive side, but it also has a risky side. We've seen a few years ago the case on Cambridge Analytica, where data was actually being used to manipulate political behavior. What we have seen since then is also different types of privacy concerns. As we know, a few years ago, the privacy regulation started becoming more specific. We have GDPR, which came out in 2018, and that was replicated into regulation pretty much across the world. And this came out of these privacy concerns that resulted from social media. But also there is a certain element of confusing data with reality, and here is the idea of something that we talk about a lot when we talk about artificial intelligence and data science, the idea that data is supposed to represent ground truth. It's supposed to represent what the real world looks like. And quite often, if we create models that do not represent the world and we consider them to be reality, that can take us into the wrong types of decisions. Now, when we talk about coming to AI, when we talk about actually AI, it takes that question even to the next level. We talk about machine agency. And so as machines are starting to make more and more decisions, there is a question about how do our agency frameworks work? Our agency frameworks traditionally worked on the basis of human decision making. Now, what happens when machines are making decisions? Who's accountable for those types of decisions? This will become a bigger and bigger topic as machines gain more and more power. So you have seen a lot of discussions probably over the past year over generative AI, and as we will see in the next few slides, there has been also some significant incidents that have come out of that. And then finally, there are, as we talked about digital ethics being kind of the remit of digital coming into play with ethical frameworks.
AI is not the only digital technology that's coming to the fore. We have other technologies where we're going to start actually seeing a lot of discussions on ethics related to those technologies. So blockchain and cryptocurrency, what happens when we don't have a centralized authority that is governing? Ethics of augmented and virtual reality. I'm sure we've all seen, the new virtual reality technology. Recently, the one that actually was produced by Apple that does things like eye tracking. What are the ethics that are involved in this? What happens when they collect data about our interests inadvertently? What happens to that data? So there is a lot of discussions around what would that world look like in terms of ethics. And if we take some cases in point, this is an emerging phenomenon, digital twins of a customer. So the digital twin of a customer is a virtual representation of a customer. You collect data from different sources, and you can create a digital model of your customer. It's very useful to be able to do simulations. It's very useful to be able to do scenario planning using this type of model, but it also creates a new set of questions. Once you're able to predict your customer behavior, to what extent does that cross a certain boundary? What kind of privacy boundaries are we crossing when we do that? The other thing is, I think that's probably also something that you're quite familiar with. It's the positive and the negative impacts of using AI. So while what you see here, I think the important thing here is not only the fact that the positive impacts can often outweigh the negative impacts, but it's the fact that the negative impacts are certain, whereas the positive impacts are potential. And this is important when we consider how we're going to be using AI. We want to make sure that what we're using it for is actually making that equation move in the right direction. It's actually moving the needle in the right direction. And I'm aware that DEWA has ESG as a top priority for its strategy. And so this is going to be a very important consideration in your view of AI ethics and how you impact the environment. Now, if we want to look at it holistically, I want to maybe introduce a very simple framework. And the framework is basically asking three fundamental questions. The first question is the why. I would say this is really about the why in two ways: the whys of unethical and the why of non-ethical AI. So these seem like a subtle difference, but actually is quite important. So unethical AI refers to the idea of using AI in certain use cases that may not be the right ones. We have seen, as a matter of fact, regulations starting to address this. So if you look at the upcoming European regulation, it is specifying certain use cases where AI should not be used. These, for example, are things like social scoring. The non-ethical AI is actually quite often a question of omission. It is something that we do not realize. This is what's called sometimes externalities. It is sometimes when we use an AI system, we do not realize what the impacts of that AI system might be. And this is actually more often the case than in the unethical case. This is the more difficult one to address. So the question of the why is, okay, why are we doing this? Well, are we doing it for a number of reasons? These are some of the primary reasons. First of all, it's actually about how much trust is created or lost if we use AI in the right way. I've mentioned the example of Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. Of course, the company that was responsible for this went out of business, but some have actually theorized that Facebook has never recovered completely its reputation based on this, and to a large extent, the younger generation has stopped using the platform as a result. The legal liability and compliance is, this is an emerging space. There's emerging regulation. I mentioned the EU AI Act, which is the most comprehensive piece of regulation that has just been approved and will come into power, into effect in the coming couple of years. But there has been specific regulations in different domains. For example, New York City has issued regulations specifically for using AI with recruitment that requires that these AI systems have to be audited and they have to be tested for bias. These types of regulations are going to continue. They're going to grow in number. But what is important to understand is also that a lot of the liability that exists today is from existing regulation. So you don't have to have special regulation for AI. So to take a couple of examples, a couple of recent examples, you may have heard about the New York, the case between the New York Times and OpenAI, where they have, raised the liability because, they've claimed infringement on copyrights. There was also a large class action suit just very recently, also in the US, regarding insurance companies in the US because of the way they have used AI that was considered to be biased against certain parts of the population. And so these types of cases are going to increase in size, and the liability is actually quite significant in those cases. Now, bias amplification is something that happens as a result, as we mentioned earlier, as a result of collecting data at a large scale. What happens there is the data might reflect already the bias that exists. So if you are using data that is historical, and if that data is reflecting a certain bias in the ways that we have been making decisions, that data will actually inform future decisions, and so that bias will be amplified. And this is a very common case in the bias situations of AI systems. Now, the result of that is going to be, unfortunately, societal mistrust. And I'm going to give you an example in the next slide on one of these types of cases where the societal mistrust have extended beyond the system all the way to the organization itself. So the important thing is to find the why for your specific scenarios. What types of risks are you actually concerned with? Once you have that, the next question is, okay, what is the subject matter of AI ethics? So what do we consider to be the main components of AI ethics? And the good news is that there is a certain level of convergence on this. AI ethics principles and values, value statements have actually started being produced in 2016, 2017. And by now we have hundreds of these documents. And most of those documents are going to be converging around key principles. Those key principles, I can mention here, they come in different ways of representing them, but actually they pretty much center around the same things. The first thing is to consider the human impact. We call it social beneficence. So considering what impacts, positive or negative, it has on humans when we create those AI systems, and to what extent is it promoting human beneficence. And I know this is something that is important for DEWA. This is something that I've seen on the DEWA website as a key principle. The second one is around fairness and non-discrimination. So these AI systems have the potential of creating discriminatory decisions based on the data, based on bias in the data, or based on the training of the model. The third part is around explainability and transparency. Now, as we use more and more complex models, especially with deep learning, it becomes less easy to explain how the model reached its decision. And so we have to create mechanisms around the model to know how to explain how the decision was made. This is going to be quite important going forward as we imbue those models into more and more of the decisions that we are making. Accountability and responsibility is important. So if we talk about ethics, we have to be clear about who has the accountability, who's actually responsible for making that happen. So if we just define the principles, nothing is going to materialize. We need to operationalize those principles, and we need to make sure they are reflecting on the way we deliver the systems. And so that accountability is going to be quite important. And I'll talk about the models for accountability a bit later on. And then security and safety and privacy are actually quite critical. As I mentioned earlier, this is now becoming, most of the time, it's going to be a regulatory compliance. But it's even if there is no specific mandate, the security and safety is going to be, it's a common principle that applies to any system, even with or without AI. So now the next question becomes, how do we proactively implement these principles? And here I want to actually divide it into three areas. So on the strategic level, this is really getting the attention at the top level, and it needs to be supported at the top level, and creating the right framework for this. And quite commonly, one of the frameworks that we have seen quite successfully being used is to have a review board with the objective of making sure that ethical decision-making is happening across the organization. So this could be an extension of an existing review board, or it could be a specialized review board for AI ethics. Of course, the guidelines and the frameworks are important. What is good news in that space is that we are starting to see standards organizations starting to build those frameworks for us. And so we don't have to invent the wheel on this. The most recent examples are the ISO standard that is coming for AI risk management. This is actually just came out very recently. And before that, last year, there was the NIST framework for AI risk management as well. Both of these are going to become de facto standards for how do we handle ethical risks and risks in general for AI. The second level is around governance, and this is really creating the right roles and responsibilities, creating the right processes, and making sure that humans are involved in the right place when we make AI decision. So this is around human-in-the-loop mechanisms and implementing regular audits on testing. Red teaming is a common practice that has been taken from the security space. And so this is just making sure that you have the tools necessary, the process necessary, the people necessary to make this reality. And then finally, this is actually more about the technology itself. And there is quite a bit of technology effort that is being done in that space. Gartner actually has a framework called AI Prism, which defines what technologies are being used in that space. So there are technologies around explainability, there are technologies around monitoring and these are not just for ethical governance, but also for model performance to make sure that the model continues to perform well when it goes into production. And so there's a host of technologies that need to be considered there. And the role really of these technologies is to make it much more frictionless to implement these ethical principles that we have defined. So this is a high-level framework, and of course, this, as I said, is a conversation starter. It can go into a lot of details about each one of those components in the framework. But I wanted to maybe give you some examples to kind of bring it home a little bit. And so to take an example of around the trust issue, we have PG&E. They are actually a supplier of gas and electricity in Northern California. They supply about 5.5 million households. And a few years ago, they've implemented smart meters, but then something went wrong and they started overcharging customers with this technology. And I think the important thing here to highlight is this statement that came out from their senior vice president or the chief customer officer, which is the fact that as people started losing faith in the technology, that started reflecting on PG&E itself as a company. So the priority was, in fact, the company considered that technology was actually quite effective, but the priority was no longer about fixing the technology, so it was about fixing the trust. Now, how big is that, that problem can be? Well, reputational damage can be quite significant. This is another example from the Detroit Water Authority that actually was so severe that it was taken up to the UN as a human rights violation. So this is a case where Detroit Water Authority actually shut down water for a certain part of its customer base due to billing issues. And this was considered to be a human rights violation to the point of taking it to the UN. So this is how significant the reputational damage could be. Now, there are cases that are also cross-industry. If we look at, for example, the Amazon AI recruitment engine that was shut down a few years ago, this was a case where they started realizing that they were hiring, in a very biased way. And that reflects back to the point I made earlier around the data. The data that they were using to train the models was actually reflecting historical biases against women. And so they were hiring predominantly men in positions that could have been occupied easily by similar caliber or even better caliber females. And eventually they couldn't fix the problem and they had to shut down the program completely. And so some of the mechanisms that are being used, Google actually has been pioneering in that space. Again, the highlight here really is about the fact that this is contextual. So although you can define principles like fairness and bias mitigation, it's actually all about how do you implement these principles for every use case. And so they've created a committee which had the role of making sure that they take different viewpoints into consideration and to make sure that they are able to apply these principles correctly in each case. Another case in point here is the city of Utrecht. Again, here the principle of that advisory board that we referred to earlier was really not to stop projects. They only stopped one project over tens of projects that they have reviewed. The idea was really to guide those projects to make sure that they are actually aligned with their ethical principles. And the reason this is important is because quite often the values might actually create a dilemma, what we call an ethical dilemma. The values are actually sometimes in conflict. So it's important to have a reasoned discussion around how those values should be counterweighted against each other. So let's take an example. For example, this is a case of data collection. And you can see here that if you're talking about, the key 4 questions here, compliance, risk, differentiation, and values, there are different ways you can address this question. So one way, for example, you might say, I want to minimize the amount of data that I'm collecting because that is subjecting me to less regulation, but also because it reduces the risk in case of breach. But another way of looking at it is that you could actually, if you don't collect data enough, then you might be missing future opportunities, you might be missing on the potential, there might be commercial opportunities that you're missing out on. And so one way of addressing this is to say, okay, maybe I'll make some trade-offs. Maybe I'll collect a little bit more information than needed, but I'm not going to collect all the information that I need. Maybe you will resolve this by saying, okay, I will collect more data, but I want to get informed consent. Or maybe you will say, okay, I'm going to collect as much data as possible, but I'm going to employ new techniques like privacy enhancing computation. So these are the types of discussions that need to happen actually at the essence of those trade-offs in ethical discussion. And actually, as you can see, this involves a number of different people with different backgrounds. So you'd have people who are actually all specialized on the technology side, on the privacy technology side, and you'd have to have ethicists, you're going to have sometimes people who are actually specialized in social studies, representation from the customer side, and so on. So that just shows that these are not your typical technical problems in the sense that they are not, you don't know the answer to the question when you start off. And so I just want to end with this kind of wrap up. If you haven't already made digital ethics a topic for your team, I think this is, it's the right time to start having that discussion. This is not future stuff, this is mainstream now. The breaches that are happening, the biases that are happening, all the ethical risks that we talked about are actually have been occurring in real time as we talk. So this is not something that will wait for too long, and we don't want to actually have to deal with it when the problem happens. We want to actually preempt it. When you look at those practices, don't just look at practices within the organization, look at practices across the ecosystem. So you need to look at your procurement practices, which vendors are involved, what kind of practices are they following, because more often than not, we're not going to be relying only on our own internal systems or our own internal data. And the third point is really that guidelines alone are not enough. A lot of organizations publish those guidelines, but fail to operationalize them and implement them. So it's going to be as equally important to implement methodologies and frameworks to make sure that these guidelines are actually adhered to. And with that, I'd like to wrap up. And actually, if you do happen to have any questions, I'm happy to take a few questions. Thank you.
Does anyone have any question for Mr. Iyad? Thank you so much, Mr. Iyad. We will now be hosting Ms. Kathy Lee, Head of AI, Data and Metaverse at the World Economic Forum, to give her keynote speech virtually, titled as AI Driving the Future of Economy. This will take a couple of minutes to settle the connection with Ms. Kathy, so stay tuned. Miss Kathy Lee, you can start.
Great. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure to join you today at the Future Next conference hosted by the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. My name is Kathy Lee, and I serve as the head of AI, Data, and Metaverse, as well as the deputy head of Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution at the World Economic Forum. It's great to be with you, and thank you for having me. I was asked to deliver some of the thoughts on AI's impact on economy and governance in general. So let's get started. So first of all, as we navigate the complexity of the digital age, the significance of artificial intelligence in shaping our collective future cannot be overstated. In November last year, well, I would say the year before, the world witnessed a pivotal moment with the launch of ChatGPT into the consumer market. This event did not just introduce a new product, it unveiled a new horizons of possibilities. AI, once a distant vision, has now become an integrated, tangible force, reshaping our infrastructure, industries, and daily lives. As we navigate the convergence of the physical and digital realms, AI emerges as the backbone of countless interactions, transforming the way we live, work, and connect. The journey of AI from conceptual frameworks to its pervasive integration in our world today signifies not only a technological shift, but also a profound societal transformation. This revolution brings with it a spectrum of unprecedented possibilities and challenges, compelling us to rethink our approach to innovation, governance, and community. Let us consider the profound impact of AI across different sectors. In the realms of business, AI is redefining processes and enabling the creation of novel products and services. The promise of AI extends beyond operational efficiency. It heralds a new era of enhanced work experiences, augmented creativity, and innovation. From consumer goods to healthcare diagnostics and industrial operations, AI's influence is omnipresent, driving a transformative wave across all value chains. Take, for example, the healthcare sector, where AI-driven diagnostic and patient care delivery are revolutionizing patient outcomes. In industrial settings, AI is optimizing operations, leading to new levels of efficiency and productivity. Across enterprises, AI is reshaping workflows within IT, customer service, and beyond, setting the stage for a future where technology and human ingenuity converge in exciting new ways. As we delve deeper into the impact of artificial intelligence, it becomes imperative to address its influence on society at large. AI-augmented products and services are ushering in new modes of interaction, creating a world where our experiences are continuously mediated by technology. This transformation raises critical questions about our relationships with one another and with the institutions that govern our lives. The pillars of trust, safety, and privacy, foundational to our societal fabric, are now being re-examined in the context of AI's pervasive reach. The impact of AI on workforce represents another critical dimension of our journey into the AI-enabled future. The transition to AI-driven organizations demands not only technological adaptation, but also profound shifts in organizational culture, leadership, and talent management. As AI automates routine tasks, the focus shifts to human skills that AI can augment but not replicate. They are critical thinking, creativity, and interpersonal communication. This shift emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and adaptability in the workforce. Education systems and corporate training programs must evolve to equip individuals with the skills needed to thrive in an AI-augmented world. At the same time, organizations must foster environments that value human-led activities, recognizing the irreplaceable roles of human insight and empathy in driving innovation and progress. Perhaps one of the most compelling aspects of AI's ascent is its potential to serve as a force for global equality. By democratizing access to information, education, and healthcare, AI can play a crucial role in leveling the playing field for communities around the world. However, realizing this potential requires concerted efforts to overcome significant barriers, including disparities in data access, algorithmic biases, and the digital divide between different regions of the world. This potential extends into economic empowerment and innovation, where AI can unlock new opportunities for growth and development in underrepresented communities. By providing tools for entrepreneurship, agricultural advancements, and small business support, AI has the power to catalyze economic inclusivity and sustainability. Yet, harnessing these opportunities necessitates a framework that prioritizes ethical AI use, fosters local innovation ecosystems, and supports education in AI literacy and skills development. Overcoming these barriers and fully realize AI's potential for global equality means ensuring that AI technologies are developed and deployed in ways that are mindful of local contexts and needs, therefore making the benefit of AI truly accessible to everyone, regardless of a geographical location or socioeconomic status. In facing the transformative powers of artificial intelligence, we encounter the dual imperative of harnessing its potential while navigating the intricate challenges of governance. The swift evolution of AI technologies introduces unprecedented complexities, demanding a united front between the public and private sector to forge resilient and ethical frameworks for AI deployment. This collective effort is evidenced by significant global initiatives such as the UK's AI Safety Summit and the European Union's impending AI Act, marking a worldwide recognition of urgency to cultivate robust governance structures. These endeavors aim not only at regulation, but at fostering a safer, ethically grounded advancement of AI. In alignment with these global efforts, the World Economic Forum has taken a proactive stance with the inception of the AI Governance Alliance. The initiative is committed to developing adaptive, forward-looking governance models that are capable of responding to dynamic and complex nature of AI technologies and their wide-reaching impacts on society. By fostering a culture of collaborative innovation and strategic foresight, the Alliance aims to help guide the evolutions of AI towards ethical integrity and the collective good, crafting governance frameworks that are robust yet flexible, designed to maximize AI's potential benefits while mitigating its risks. Central to the World Economic Forum's mission is the vision of AI as a transformative force for global well-being, bridging societal divides and driving prosperity. The AI Governance Alliance plays a pivotal role in this vision, transitioning from theoretical governance principles to practical, actionable frameworks. As we strive to build these ethical frameworks, it's crucial that our approach is inclusive, drawing on the diverse perspectives and expertise of stakeholders from across the globe. This includes not only policymakers and industry leaders, but also academics, civil society, and the communities most impacted by AI developments. By fostering a dialogue that spans borders and sectors, we can ensure that governance of AI not only addresses the immediate challenges of technology deployment, but also anticipate future ethical dilemmas and societal impact. The journey ahead with artificial intelligence is filled with both promises and challenges. It beckons us not only to adapt, but to lead with a vision, ensuring that as we harness the powers of AI, we do so with a commitment to ethical integrity, inclusivity, and the betterment of the society at large. Let's pledge to not only shape the futures of technology, but to do so in a way that honors our shared humanity, bridges divides, and creates a more equitable world for all of us. Thank you for the opportunity to be with me, to be with all of you today. My sincere thanks to all of you, and I wish you success for the rest of your day there in Dubai. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kathy Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be hosting a panel discussion with the participants of Mr. Adel Al-Tamimi, Director of the Digital Solutions and Digital Products at DEWA, Ms. Khaloud Al-Awadi, Director of the Advanced Technology Services at Moro Hub, Mr. Faris Hassania, Field CTO for Dell Technologies, and Ms. Santaza, Business Group Azure Lead Analytics and AI from Microsoft. Please. This session will be moderated by Engineer Muzan Shakir, Senior Project Manager at DEWA. Please join us on the stage.
Assalamu alaikum. This one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Not working. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for this panel discussion. It's a very exciting panel, and we are going to talk about very interesting and exciting topic, generative AI and digital transformation. That's why we're having 4 of our experts, Mr. Adel Al-Tamimi. Please join us to welcome them, please, Mr. Adel. Mr. Faris, please, ladies list, please. Ms. Stasha, please, thank you. And Ms. Khaloud. Thank you very much. So this is a very exciting topic, and we are going to try to mix them both, digital transformation and how generative AI is pushing forward this journey. So let's start with a quick introduction. Please have a seat. I will ask you kindly, everyone, to introduce yourselves, maybe the name, the organization, and your expertise in relation to digital transformation and generative AI. Mr. Adel.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Muzan. Ladies and gentlemen, the organizer of this event, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum and good morning. We take this opportunity to thank you for coming today, physically and virtually, to see this event. My name is Adel Al-Tamimi, the Digital Product and Solution Manager, the Director of Digital Products and Solution Manager. We are here today to express our journey, our success in DEWA, and we'll show you where we have reached in our journey of digital transformation. And inshallah, you will be very much excited to see the success in DEWA. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Mr. Adel. Mr. Faris.
Hello, everyone. A great pleasure to be with you today. I come from Dell Technologies. I'm the field CTO for Dell, covering Middle East, Turkey, and Africa. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity of having us today to discuss the emerging trends that we are seeing in the market, in fact, and the role that Dell Technologies is playing, in fact, with a wide range of customers around the generative AI and how we are supporting, in fact, their capabilities in this field. This is one of the focus areas for us, and looking forward, in fact, to have a very interactive discussion today.
Thank you and welcome. Stasha.
Thank you for having me today. Assalamu alaikum. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of Microsoft, and just wanted to say thanks first for giving us the opportunity to share some of our best practices, learnings, and everything that we can bring to the table. So in my role, I'm actually the Analytics and AI Business Lead for Central Eastern Europe and Middle East and Africa. And what I do on a daily basis is basically take the strategy that we have for our solution area, so primarily data and AI, and take that strategy, work with our sales, channel, and marketing teams, and customize it and really make it happen for the region. And we've got different, market specifics, etc. We've seen such a take-up of AI, specifically in UAE and the Middle East. So, I'm part of that, and that's sort of development.
Very exciting. We are going to talk about that, inshallah. Khulud, please.
Thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure actually to join this esteemed panel, joining DEWA and our trusted partners today to discuss about latest AI innovations. So my name is Khulud Al-Awadi, and I'm the Director of Advanced Technology Services at Moro Hub. And inshallah, can't wait to have a productive discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome everyone. So let's start with the most, let's say, broad and basic question, and allow me to start with Adil. If we can talk about, to set the stage for everyone, what is generative AI? We know AI has been there since many years. What is generative AI, and how it differs from normal, or let's say, other types of AI?
Very good question. Generative AI is a branch of artificial intelligence. And this is very modern branch. Few years ago, we haven't expected this capability to come live and to see it on the ground, the generative AI. So it's a branch of AI. It's very much specialized in the ability to generate content and different types of content. It can generate text, it can generate images, videos, and sounds as well. So it has vast of capabilities in this domain. That's why it's called generative AI, because it generates content. Not only that, but it has also the ability to review, understand, summarize, and generate content from an existing content. So this is a great capability which we have missed over the past period of time. Personally, when I started the journey of developing chatbot a few years ago, Rammas, which is available on 7 or 8 channels now, it was very hard to believe that in one day we will have the capability of an AI that has the capacity and capability to generate new content. And the content it generates, it makes sense always, and it is understood as if a human has generated these contents. And in some occasions, it's very hard to distinguish what's generated from AI and what's generated from non-AI capability. One of the capability which I found in generative AI is the capability of synthetic data. Synthetic data is a modern concept where the AI can generate a new set of data. Like, for example, I can say, generate name of customers who are Arabic with proposed age, with proposed job. It can generate unlimited number of content, and if you see and review these contents, they will look like if they are human. And nowadays, in the world of generative AI, we can see there are technologies, they are readily available, they can be used, like OpenAI, which supports ChatGPT. We have seen it today in the presentation. There is also a product from Google called Bard, as well as there is also others from Claude and Perplexity, I think. Yeah, there is a product. So Apple is also coming up with generative AI capabilities, as well as Facebook. And there are more and more technologies that is coming in the market.
Thank you, Mr. Adel. I will take this one, the basic definition and let's say scope of generative AI, and try to answer the question why generative AI became very popular in very short period of time. As we have seen in one of the presentations, I think from Nermeen, she mentioned that it took only 5 days for ChatGPT to go to 1 million users, compared to other applications, famous applications, it took months or years. So maybe Faris, if you can shed some light on this topic, why generative AI became very popular very quick?
In fact, what we have seen is a sort of an ecosystem of technology that has been built throughout, in fact, the last 10, 15 years, in fact. So that you have the capability to deliver the system as fast as possible. So generative AI, as Dr. Adu was mentioning, in fact, is something that came as a sort of an evolution. So I think everyone is aware, since this is a model that started, in fact, the term artificial intelligence started since the 50s. In fact, Frank Rosenbolt and all the stuff that goes around it. And we went into a sort of a winter of AI, going from the 1980s, in fact, till the early 2000s. And then we have started since the 2010 with people like Jeff Hinton and the others with something called deep neural networks that was around the basic change and then later on the transformers that led to this generative AI. So when we think about it, this is not just a moment in history that we are coming to. In fact, it's a sort of an evolution. And interestingly, we went from a long roadmap that took us around everything that is related to the classification of images, classification to the text, all this stuff that has led us to reaching, in fact, generative AI. The thing that is pretty interesting around the technology, as you have rightly mentioned, is that nowadays, what we used to do with AI, it used to be something, in fact, of an elite technology that is specific to technologists in their own field. What generative AI did is the capability for us as humans for the first time to talk with the machine directly using what we call the natural language or the domain language. And this is the reason, I believe personally, that has led to this massive adoption in this perspective. So the ease of use, the user interface, the stuff that has been built up, in fact, throughout the years, the internet, the ecosystem, it's a full end-to-end complex system that has led around this. So.
Yes, yes. This accessibility, I believe, Faris, as you rightly mentioned, gave the normal users the ability to use these tools. Before, AI was something related to developers, maybe programmers, and more tech-savvy people. So I think this is one of the main reasons. Let me take it from here, and we spoke about the definition, what is generative AI, what made it famous. Now let's take it one step further, Khulud, إذا سمحتي. There is a lot of power for generative AI tools and technologies. How can organizations harness this power in their operations, in their business models, in their daily activities?
Now, generative AI, it can power a lot of chatbot and virtual assistants, customer support systems to provide, instant support. And yes, it's closed. Okay. Yes. So what I was saying is that generative AI can, be used to power chatbots and virtual assistants to provide automated support for customers and enhance their experience. The way generative AI can support digital transformation is that there are some AI-powered automation that are automating certain tasks and workflows which are allowing employees to free up their time also to do more value-adding activities and increase operational efficiency. Gen AI also has a very big role when it comes to collaboration. So AI-powered collaboration tools can facilitate also collaboration and knowledge sharing between employees to also improve and boost productivity and encourage innovation within organizations. There are lots of generative AI models out there that are also they have they can analyze large data sets and help organizations throughout their digital transformations to make more data-driven decisions.
Makes a lot of sense, and I remember one of the very early use cases we explored internally within DEWA, and Mr. Adil will talk about it maybe in the next round, about creating content, different types of content between text and videos. Even a video that used to take us maybe a couple or a few days, it took maybe a couple of hours. So there's a huge opportunities. We'll touch base on this in a few minutes. Would you like to add something as well?
True, yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Yes. Perfect. So I want Stasha to touch base with you because you have also, as far as I know, that you are kind of responsible for a huge area and many countries. And you have exposure on different, let's say, markets, different cultures, different restrictions. How do you see the scope or the landscape of this technology, the adoption maybe, how some use cases, if you'd like to touch base on, how do you see the overall view of the technology?
So things, I mean, I've been in this data and AI realm for many, many years now. And what I've seen is this take up and the agility, it's just immense with the generative AI. We've seen that UAE has always been at the forefront. So if you ask me about examples, etc., we don't need to go far, right? You know, we've been working with DEWA on Ramaz, evolving it, enhancing it, and I've been an active user as well with, you know, sometimes when I had issues and I could see how it evolved. And you can see in everyday examples, like if you have any interaction with Do or Etisalat, etc., how the IVRs improve. They actually understand you, to what Mr. Adel was saying earlier. So it's evolved, it's scaled, and we're seeing that across the industries. And it's been much faster. And you know, just last week we held an event in the Museum of the Future, and we actually handed out a couple of innovation awards, including DEWA and the telcos I mentioned, ADNOC, etc. We're seeing customers adopting AI at an unprecedented speed and across the organization. Before that, it took perhaps even sometimes 18 months before you could get something into production, etc. Now it takes only a couple of weeks. And this is what we've seen, you know, immediately when we released Azure OpenAI, which was probably like a month after ChatGPT got out. A month after, we already signed a partnership with DEWA. We're, you know, going on this whole journey with ChatGPT and then adopting Copilot, etc. So DEWA is a prime example of how fast you can adopt that, no matter the industry. Because before that, it was usually, you know, the retailers that were sort of taking advantage of the automation, the personalization, etc. Now it applies across the board, and probably the ones that are gonna, let's say, benefit the most is obviously tech, because of how quickly you can now generate code, how quickly you can integrate AI into existing applications that you're offering. But, you know, customer service, etc. Banking, for example, banking has a lot of like legacy systems, the tooling, you cannot move that fast. Now all of a sudden, all these things can be addressed in a much faster manner. So we're seeing it across the board, but I would say that UAE is definitely at the forefront. And the use cases that have already been shared, you know, through the chatbots, etc., it's definitely there. But we can think even in broader terms, for example, like more in the realm of AI for good, right? We talked about the capability of LLMs and those foundational models, the way they can learn new languages, etc. Think of the impact of, for example, I don't know, having an AI tutor that was released for, through Ministry of Education, you've probably heard about it, rolling that out in Africa. Because, you know, we have scarcity in terms of teachers, etc. So through those chatbots, you can actually bring education to another level, make it accessible to everyone in every village, in, you know, the most remote places, in the language that's perhaps even close to extinction, for example. I'm just giving you ideas, you know, but it has much further implications than just, you know, sort of going through typical like customer service, creating products faster, but it, you know, it has the implications that, you know, we're learning as well as a vendor.
A lot of sense, especially that the technology is advancing in a pace that is very, very fast, even it challenging to keep pace with it. We'll come back to this point, but I would like to connect what you said and Khulud about the use cases and take it from Mr. Adil as managing part of digital transformation within DEWA and the generative AI initiatives. Could you like, or would you like please to share some of the exciting, let's say, use cases, initiatives, whether the ones that already completed, we are aware of from mass maybe already integrated with ChatGPT and so on, or other use cases that are still under development?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Mazin, for this question. In fact, in DEWA, we have a department that looks at the innovation and looks at the future shaping. We thank Dr. Ali and his team and Ms. Marwa also. From early stage, they looked at the future technologies and they have the tools to explore future trends and future signals. So we came to know at early stage about the generative AI and the impact, expected and projected impact and the potential impact of generative AI. So we started at early stage to adopt this powerful technology. So we started with building the capabilities through series of training, workshop, brainstorming sessions to explore the potential use cases that will utilize generative AI. Then we launched our Rammas version powered by ChatGPT. And alhamdulillah, we are proud to be the first utility in the world to empower its business and to provide a chatbot that's powered by generative AI. This is one of the use cases. As well as we have other use cases which we have started to explore and use and establish, such as knowledge mining. So inshallah soon we are going to launch a service to our beloved employees in DEWA that has the capability to chat with a PDF, chat with an image, chat with the content, chat with a book to summarize and extract the knowledge from these books, as well as exploring the capability of empower the contracting process with ChatGPT. The entire business of contracting, from the time we initiate the contract document to the time we evaluate the bids, to the time of selecting also the right bidder. So we explored lots of use cases and more will come inshallah soon.
I would like just to follow up, Adil, on this. How do you prioritize the use cases? I know there is a huge pool of use cases suggested or proposed by different divisions within DEWA or the generally organizations. How do you prioritize which use case to start with, based on technology maturity, based on impact, on feasibility? How do you look at it?
Sure. Alhamdulillah, we have very competent, very caliber teams and team members who actively participated to explore the use cases. Believe it or not, from the first round of exploring use cases, we ended up having 85 use cases. Yes. And how did we prioritize them? We prioritized them based on 5 dimensions. One dimension is the alignment with the strategy. Another dimension is the business impact and the value of these use cases. Third dimension is the ease of implementation, data availability, and so forth. Based on all of these factors, we decide in consent, in agreement with the stakeholders which one to start with.
Perfect. What about the cost? Is not one of the factors?
Absolutely, cost is one of the, of course, it's part of the impact analysis and the value, the benefits we get out of it. We consider the cost and revenue, then the profit.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Adil.
Pleasure.
Khulud, I know it's more also subsidiary of DEWA, but also you are working with other clients beside DEWA. So how do you see it from use cases perspectives?
So to back what Mr. Adil have just said, we have been working closely also with the DEWA team on the same use cases which he has mentioned, along with our trusted partners, to help implement and enhance DEWA's chatbot and virtual assistant capabilities, to provide a better customer experience. We are currently also involved in exploring a couple of additional use cases. One of them, yes, it's also the knowledge mining. There are a couple of other generative AI use cases we are also assessing right now with the working team to see how we can improve the internal operational business. But from Moro side, you know, DEWA is our primary customer for sure, and we are really collaborating successfully to prove some of the valuable use cases that we can also go to market and offer to other clients within government or even private sector. But we have also been providing our clients from different industries with Moro's integrated security system platform, which is providing also video analytics and behavioral analytics, facial recognition, and it's also leveraging like rule-based intelligence.
Great. These use cases mainly they come internal from the internal team, or you receive a demand from outside external parties, or it's mix of both?
So, you know, at Moro it's a bit different. We make sure that we are, you know, investing in the right way to have like a overall successful engagement for all parties involved. So, if you're asking specifically, for example, about the integrated security platform, this is developed completely by Moro, and actually we have an intellectual property for this product, which is it was created using like an it was like combined effort. We have a full ecosystem of partners who helped us create this unique product and sell it out to the market. And we are serving a couple of industries now, health industries and other security entities, providing this intelligent solution for them.
So this solution is white labeled, or let's say this is a SaaS
it is white
solution
labeled,
for
yes, yes,
okay.
it is.
Very interesting, very interesting. We're going to talk more about the security and the ethical considerations, but I would like to stay a little bit on the upskilling point Mr. Adil was talking about, and Faris ask you from the private sector point of view. How do you deal with technologies like this one, like generative AI? How do you upskill your teams? How do you empower them to become enablers to add business value to the team? Because we know, whatever is the technology, however it's good, if the users are not equipped, there will be a gap and might be also a backfire. How do you deal with it?
Indeed, that's a very important point. In fact, it's at the focus of Dell Technologies. And, you know, okay, with all the stuff that's happening with artificial intelligence and even the perception around, you know, machines replacing humans, at the end of the day are at the center of the technology. And in fact, what we do is mainly, I think, especially with the customers as well, is learn it in the first step, use it in the second, and build it at the end, in fact. Because, you know, in terms of capability, this is a new technology in terms of, I talked about the evolution around it, but the fast adoption to the market requires, in fact, a massive learning curve to get to it. Everything in terms, you know, like the terms that Mr. Adil was mentioning in the beginning around large language models. In fact, the millions companies that are getting there in terms of creating those models. You mentioned Claude, Mistral, Perplexity, Inflection, etc. There are thousands of those. However, you need to learn the basics, in fact. So when we talk about AI, the large language models, how it works in this perspective, it's very important. Also, there is a very important aspect around the data and the infrastructure that you need to build, because Jensen Huang was here, in fact, I think last couple of weeks back, and he mentioned the importance of building something called sovereign AI. And back to your point, this is also needs an upskill of the existing setup. So mainly what we do is going with customers in this journey. Also from a processes perspective, it's very important because, you know, you can have thousands of use cases. Which ones are you gonna invest in? Which ones, in fact, you are gonna build upon is you require sort of a visibility to your environment. And there is a very interesting concept, in fact, that we talk about value and value stream mapping in this perspective, which is one of the processes, to your point, that we do for our customers to have a visibility around a process, because if you want to automate a certain aspect of the business, you need to have a full end-to-end visibility on how this business is working. And this is where AI and machine comes into perspective. So VSM is something that we're currently doing. We're having, in fact, a huge hiring when it comes to data scientists. That's a key skill. And also all the aspects that's related to data engineering that we're seeing. So this is AI by itself is the center. However, if you can think about it as the engine that you are putting in your environment, but at the end of the day, you need the data, the fuel, data engineers, data scientists, in fact, all the stuff that comes around it. And also there is a very interesting field that goes around AI ops, which is especially in the case of utilities, what we are seeing as well, the way that they respond to the ticketing system and how we can accelerate it leveraging AI. So skilling is very important. Personally, I think when AI came, I was forced to read 3 books. In fact, I can recommend one of the most interesting one of them. It was released last November by a gentleman called Mustafa Suleiman. He's the founder of DeepMind. He's now, in fact, founding another company called Infection AI, which I don't know if has anybody used it. It's called Pi, Personal Assistant. The book is called The Coming Wave, and it talks heavily around, like the future of AI, where we're heading, also from what we call generative AI, which is this wave, to artificial capable intelligence, where AI is going to execute action. So it's a long wave, a lot of learning, but I think also as humans, we have the big potential leveraging AI for our benefit in order to upskill and solve the problems that we are seeing in the market.
Yes. Okay. What about you, Sar? How do you see it? How do you see the upskilling and also treating the use cases? I mean, they are connected to different points, but they are connected. Upskilling plus the failure of many use cases. We know there are many use cases. There's a lot of excitement about the use cases. But as per research from McKinsey, they say only 10% of the use cases, they transform or go to production. So is the upskilling or lack of skills actually one of the factors lead to this, or is something separate?
Absolutely. All these factors that you mentioned are definitely super important. And I want to reflect back, a couple of years back, we actually commissioned a study to better understand why so many projects that we embark on with our partners, with our customers, actually fail, yes. Right? And it was essentially lack of skilling, lack of Mr. Adel mentioned how they go about really identifying the right sort of project that will actually bring value. So that was not in place a couple of years back. So we invested heavily in a lot of skilling initiatives, be it AI skilling, be it for developers, be it for enterprises like DEWA, public sector, private sector, or for broader sort of customer set that we perhaps don't interact on a daily basis, and it's all available online. Mm. And we also involve a lot with executives. We released AI Business School several years back to sort of teach and educate and help executives understand what AI is bringing to the table and how to go about it, how to drive change management, the strategy, and then ultimately the technology is the last part. It's around, you can have great technology implemented, but if you don't drive that adoption, right, it's not going to happen. It's going to be a very isolated use case. And what we've learned is skilling definitely, you need to do internal skilling, externally also be ready for all the changes that AI is bringing to my role, to everyone's role on a daily basis, right? But most importantly, what we've learned is also we should not underestimate the importance of having data in order, right? Because what I've seen in the past year when I engage with clients on a daily basis, some of them, when they heard about ChatGPT, etc., they've been neglecting getting a data platform in order, really modernized, etc., and then they wanted to leapfrog. And it's not that easy. Why it was fairly easy for DEWA to sort of embark, because the ramas already had all the components, so it was just making it better, it's evolving, and it's getting better by the day. But if you don't have that strategy already in place, you need to take care of your data first, or have the right applications, etc., where you can infuse AI and then scale. So, as you said, skilling, definitely important, aligning with the business, calculating the ROI. Something can sound really fancy and it's great for perhaps PR, etc., but does it really drive impact? Not necessarily. Does it drive financial gains? does it improve customer service, or you're just, flooding your channel with something? So it's always this ROI that needs to be really internally, and of course we help out with customers to get on the right path. And we say, no, this doesn't make sense simply because maybe it's going to work in the short term, but you need to take care of this and this and this. So there are always a lot of aspects. Right. But what I wanted to touch on, sorry, I'm going to be fast, is also each of us need to sort of look into what we're doing today and unpack all the tasks that we're doing and look into where AI can help us be more productive. And I'm seeing that a lot in my role. It has evolved within 1 year, simply because I can be more productive with Copilot. Then all of a sudden, we don't fight over who's going to do minutes of the meeting after a call, because Copilot does it for you. Yes. So there are a lot of things that are making our lives easier, and I think that's the number one, what we've achieved in 1 year. It's the productivity part.
Yes, I agree. No one could have imagined 1 year ago how we would be working nowadays. And that takes us also to a risk associated with the generative AI and technologies. And many people, Khulud, are concerned about losing their jobs, or generative AI and technology in general will impact and affect maybe negatively. We know there is a positive impact for sure, but also some people are concerned that there will be a negative impact on their jobs. They might lose their jobs. How do you look at it, or what do you tell them?
So, while generative AI can certainly automate some tasks, but there are still some skills that are very unique to human, which cannot be replaced by machines. In fact, generative AI may lead to creation of new job opportunities. There are technical people, data scientists that need to continuously look at the data, clean the data, filter, maintain the system, revisit the strategies, maybe come up with awareness and adoption strategies. So it's going to drive a lot of new job opportunities in different fields, actually. What I would say or advise is people is to stay up to date to trends.
Yes.
and advancements in your field.
Right.
And invest in learning new skills that are in demand. Basically just be open to change, and we all have to embrace these new opportunities where we need to adapt new technologies into our work and routine, because this is going to be the future.
Right.
So
yes.
we have to equip ourselves as well as generations to come. Even education might be altered, better education
yes.
to be provided academically to our generations. So yes, to some my opinion, I don't think generative AI is going to jeopardize or threaten anyone's job here. In fact, we will need more people to come and hop in and help.
Okay, so you see it in a positive way.
Yes.
Mr. Adil, do you see it from the same angle?
Well, of course, the generative AI is a tool, and it can have two sides, positive and negative side. And it depends on how we would like to use it and how we implement it. Of course, we want to use the positive side, and we want to get the positive side of it. Like, for example, improve staff productivity, support them, make our staff super staff who are capable to do the work in a very short period of time. For that reason, we started to bring generative AI capabilities into our daily work environment. We provided some of our employees with Copilot in collaboration with our partner, Microsoft. So more than 600 employees, alhamdulillah, we are very, very pleased to announce that more than 600 employees are.
But sorry to interrupt, but what about the risk associated with that? We hear a lot of stories about data leakage, about what happened with Samsung and the codes leaked and all these things. How do you deal with all these concerns? And I know the security teams in any organization, private or there will be a resistance. Yeah. How do you deal with that, Mr. Ad?
That's a very true point, and I'm happy that you raised this point in front of our colleagues. Of course, we consider the security, we consider the threats, we consider the risks. For that reason, whenever we release a service to our employees, it passes through security check. It might be taking some time to be delivered to our employees, might be taking some time, but it will be safe to them. It will be delivered safely to our employees.
Perfect, thank you very much. I think also that's aligned with the change management, with the education of the employees, how to use it in a safe way that will play a big role. In the last two, please, you would like to add something? Please.
One of the important things is also, when you're thinking of who you partner with, these things need to be built in. The technology that you're using, we talked about ethical AI, we heard it from Gartner. We as vendors, we have to have that built in, the data privacy, all the ethical aspects to help you drive responsible AI. We are responsible, we're carrying that responsibility as well. And if you have the time, just look it up. Yesterday in Barcelona, there's the World Mobile Congress. We actually released some additional sort of AI principles on top of what we're already doing, because we agree that AI needs to be regulated, and to avoid any type of data privacy, New York Times type of situation about copyright, etc. We carry that responsibility, and we work with customers and partners to ensure that this is addressed by default in the actual tool, so you don't have to do anything extra, because you have the explainability of the models. Your data is your data, and it's not going to be used for anything else. So these are the things that we carry the responsibility of taking care of that. And that's one of the sort of checkpoints that you need to do when you're deciding as well.
Right, thank you very much. Very important point. In the last 2 minutes, maybe we just take a quick, if you would like to add anything or any message to organizations and individuals who still in the early stage maybe of adoption of the technology, or in general. Faris.
Perfect. I'll start, in fact. So back to the points around the jobs. In fact, as everyone in the panel said, learn more. In fact, this is going to be a sort of, nowadays, it's a personal assistant that you can level. It's a sort of a chief of staff sitting in your pocket. So you need to leverage it in this way. 20 years from now, I think we're going to have the job safes to a certain perspective. The thing that we are going to see is changing a little bit from general artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence to AGI, artificial general intelligence, artificial capable intelligence. This is where the risk and containment can come into perspective. Nowadays, in fact, you are having this AI generating a text, an image, a video. It's not harming. However, when you start having this AI taking actions by itself, and to be frank, there are a lot of people working on this perspective. This is where the risk comes in perspective, and this is where the containment comes in perspective. There was a very old book, not that old, 2017, Max Tegmark. He talks about Life 3.0, which is nowadays what we are seeing. In fact, the intelligence, the human intelligence has dominated let's say, the history for the last more than 10,000 years. We might see a phase sooner or later where you have, in fact, the AI, the intelligence that goes and shifts to the silicon. And that's why building sovereign AI is of key priority. Nowadays, everyone is having his own LLM, his own large language models, and UAE is in a very advanced position with Falcon, with JACE and other, and this is also going to continue. So the technology by itself, we call it, this would be my last remark, it's a technology wave. And those we had, since the rise of human being, we had around 25 of them. So this is a socio-technical revolution. It's going to change jobs. It's going to change the way that we see things. It has a huge impact. The only thing that we can do, embrace it, learn it, live with it, upskill ourselves, and go to the next phase.
And be positive about it.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Faris. Khulud, the last comment from your side as well.
We expect generative AI to continue evolving, and we expect also adoption of generative AI to increase within government entities. We are expecting also leading organizations to continue rethinking their strategies and finding ways on how to build more flexible technology landscapes to accommodate the AI requirements. We are expecting to see government focusing on creating rules and regulations to how to use or govern
That's
AI.
very important.
Yes.
That's important.
People will be using AI in their daily life, at home, at work. So you should just continue enriching yourself with the necessary AI information and staying up to date with the latest
technologies,
AI technologies. and focus on the ethical use of AI, I would say, especially when it comes to data privacy and concerns and privacy concerns.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Khulud. Stasha, last comment, if you may, brief one.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what Khulud finished off with. If I take my Microsoft hat off, I would just say use AI responsibly. I think that's the most important part. We see that the governments, etc., they're sort of embracing the new regulation, etc. It's going to take time. The way it took time with GDPR, for example, before we sort of caught up with data privacy, we experienced many things, right, including Cambridge Analytica. So I would say, like, as a user, when you're using it on a daily basis, as an employer, as an employee, as an organizer of, anything, as a vendor, etc., we carry that responsibility, because every tool that came out, at some point, it created transformation. Right. But every tool can also it can become a weapon if it's not properly regulated.
Especially with this
So
size.
while the governments are catching up, it's on us and every individual to use that responsibly. So that would be my main
Use
point.
it responsibly. This is the message from your side. Mr. Adil, last comment, please.
Well, I have a few recommendations to the audience. Generative AI is like a fast, strong train that's coming, okay? And better than opposing it, use it, and use it in a positive way. Always remember that generative AI is made to stay, and it is fed by billions and billions and billions of content. For that reason, when you prompt, when you ask question, always try to detail the question as much as you can so that you can get precise answers. This is my recommendation to the people who use in DEWA the Copilot, who use the Enterprise Bing, who use whatever generative AI. Don't feel shy when you ask the question to the ChatGPT. Give a detailed question. It can take up to, how many pages, Mr. Faris? 40 pages of prompt?
Depends on the billions of parameters, but yeah, it can take books, in fact.
You can ask a question of 10,000 words, and it has the capacity to answer. So you can ask whatever question. Always shape your prompt, and there is technique of how to shape your prompt. If you ask very general question, you will get very generic answer, and you will not get benefits out of it. But if you detail it with date, time, specifically in points what you want, it will provide you the answer because it has all of these knowledge. Finally, just remember one thing. I will just give you an example to imagine the capacity of generative AI, supporting my colleagues, Mr. Faris and colleagues. If you read a book of 100 pages, how long do you need to read it all? Maybe 1 week? But generative AI can absorb it and can occupy the 100 pages in 1 second. Depends on the power of that server. It can occupy it in 1 second, 100 pages book. And also it has the ability to distribute this capability and this learning to thousands of servers in seconds. If you read a book in a week, how long time do you need to train others? You need ages to train others. But the generative AI and the power of the computing can produce this knowledge in seconds to others. So imagine what's going to happen in future. And we are in the way to reach the general
AGI.
Exactly. Artificial general intelligence. It's going to come. It's going to come, and we need to be ready for that.
Shukran jazilan. With this note, so if we summarize this, be positive about it, be careful, and also keep updating yourself. So I would like, on your behalf, thank every one of our experts. Khulud, shukran jazilan. Stasha, thank you very much for coming. Faris, thank you very much. Shukran. Mr. Adil, shukran jazilan. Thank you very much also for you, and see you soon, inshallah.
Thank you. Shukran.
ലാസ്റ്റ് അല്ല ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ഇവിടെ ആ ഗനിയും ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ ഇല്ലില്ല മാറ്റുന്നില്ല ഞാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ ഓക്കെ
Yes. Thank you all for this insightful discussion. We will now hear from Mr. Ghanem Al-Qasim, Senior Manager of Solar Energy at DEWA, about technology advancement in solar energy. Please welcome him to the stage.
ഓപ്പൺ ആക്കിയിട്ടേ ആ മാറ്റിക്കോ മാറ്റിക്കോ യാ പ്ലീസ് ഓക്കെ
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. One of the challenges when you're one of the last speakers in a day full of presentations is to keep the audience awake. And it's a big challenge that I will have because the title doesn't really help me. You guys are probably going to be like, this guy's going to bore us to death talking about technical terms in the solar energy industry that we know nothing about. I mean, honestly, I'll be doing some of that, but my main focus is giving some context about where we are when it comes to executing the solar projects in Dubai and what DEWA's approach was as we began that journey and as we continue that journey to 2030. So just a little bit of background about myself. I joined DEWA a little over a year ago now, and before that I was working in the nuclear industry. And part of what we were doing in the nuclear industry is we were doing roadshows to promote nuclear energy to the public because, you know, the public gets scared when they hear the term nuclear. It's typically associated with the word nuclear bomb. So we needed to promote the culture that, you know, this is a safe, reliable source of clean energy that we want to enrich our country with. And one of the things we were doing as part of that roadshow is saying how bad solar energy is. And years later, here I am responsible to execute the largest single-site solar park in the world. So I always say that I have a lot of making up to do to the solar industry. So just to give a bit of context about the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum solar park, it is located in Sayh al-Dahal area. For those cyclists out there, you guys know exactly where that is. It's in Al-Qudra area. The solar park, the total area we have is 127 kilometers squared. It's approximately 50 kilometers from Dubai. And the total investment that we anticipate to be used for the solar park is 50 billion dirhams. The total capacity that the solar park will occupy by 2030 is 5,000 megawatts. And, you know, the approach we've taken, you know, DEWA could have, you know, because we've identified the required capacity. We know we want it to be 5,000 megawatts. We know we want it to be completed by 2030. What DEWA could have simply done, because this journey started almost 10 years ago. So what DEWA could have done is that, you know, we release an RFP to the market, we know the scope, we know the capacity, we know the timeline. We can give it to one EPC contractor. You have 20 years to finish this project. You have 20 years to complete this project. But the approach that DEWA took to execute the solar park is that we've broken down the total area into different phases. Each phase has a different capacity, different technology, different area requirements. And the reason we've done it that way is to monitor and implement the technology advancement in the solar world. You know, what we've realized as well is that the overall cost, back in 2013 when we first started, the challenge with solar energy was cost. It was of a much higher cost than it is today. But we anticipated the reduction in cost over the years, and as you know, because this is a global target, is to go green by 2050 and to have all the energy sources from clean energy sources by 2050, everyone played together in this world to help reduce the price. And I believe DEWA played a significant role in driving down the worldwide prices of solar energy. So the solar park as well, it includes the R&D center, the DEWA R&D center. It also includes the innovation center, the spirally wound building, to raise awareness about sustainability, to promote the culture of going green. And in DEWA, we work in line with the Dubai Clean Energy Strategy 2050 and the Dubai Net Zero Strategy 2050 as well. And what we've done is we've identified targets for ourselves throughout the years. For example, we said in 2020, we want the energy mix to be 7% from clean energy. And we were able to overachieve. In 2020, in fact, we were 9%. The target for 2030 is to achieve 25%. So currently, the operational part of the solar park, we reached over 2,600 megawatts, which contributes to above 16% of the entire capacity of the Emirate of Dubai from clean energy sources. So, like I mentioned, we've broken it down into different phases. Phase 1 was the pilot project, where we've done it only 13 megawatts, and that is the only phase that we've done through an EPC contractor. So that's fully owned by DEWA, fully operated by DEWA, fully maintained by DEWA. From the second phase onwards, what we've done is we've implemented the independent power producer model, where we've partnered up with main developers, for example, Aqua Power, for example, Masdar, who have the responsibility to build, own, and operate the plants. And for that partnership, we've developed subsidiaries of DEWA, for example, Shu'a Energy 1, Shu'a Energy 2, Noor Energy, that DEWA has a majority share in. And this is the model we use to implement the different phases. So what we've seen as we've moved from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 is a reduction in the levelized cost of electricity. Now this number is, to define the levelized cost of electricity, it's basically the average tariff that DEWA as an off-taker pays to the generator. And the number, to achieve that number, there's a lot of components that make it up. And part of that includes, what the debt to equity ratio is, who the partners are, what is the interest rate at the time. So what we've seen, and DEWA was able to achieve the lowest levelized cost of electricity in the world for all the different phases. So we beat our own records every time we initiate a new phase. The latest phase that we've initiated is phase 6. It is the largest one. It is going to be 1,800 megawatts. We've already signed the power purchase agreement with Masdar, and the plan is to have this completed by 2026. Upon completion, we will achieve above 24% of the energy mix to be from clean energy sources. So as I mentioned, we're well on track to achieve the targets that we have set for ourselves. So technology advancement. Land optimization is one area where we've seen, with the enhancement of technology, we were able to minimize the required land to generate the same, if not more, power from the same area. My favorite example is if I compare phase 5 and phase 3. So phase 5, the required land to generate 900 megawatts, which is more than phase 3. Phase 3 is only 800 megawatts. But the required land is almost half of what phase 3 was, the land requirement was for that. And this is, this is where we can see the approach that we've taken by breaking it down and monitoring the technology advancement and implementing the technology advancement comes to play. And now when we look at phase 6, for example, it is also slightly less than phase 5. Phase 5 was recently launched by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed in June of last year. So we can see significant efficiency of land use. So in terms of the technologies that we've implemented in the solar park, what we have is the normal PV panels that you see all around, sometimes on top of buildings, on top of parkings, on top of rooftops. And we have implemented that throughout all the phases. But what we've realized is one of the challenges in solar energy, I mean, if we go back to the definition of solar energy, what is solar energy? It's basically the converting energy from the sun into electrical energy. So what happens if there is no sun? What happens during the nighttime? What happens if there's a cloud that covers the sun? What about if it's raining? So the simple answer to that is there won't be any generation during those times. So to mitigate that challenge, what we've implemented in DEWA is, a few technologies to mitigate that. So what we have is the sky cameras. The sky cameras are installed to monitor and predict the weather in advance. So for example, now we have the capability to predict the weather 15, 30 days in advance so that we can plan for any, rain or any cloudy days, and we can prepare for that. But predicting and preparing won't stop the weather from changing. It'll still change, right? So another thing we've done is we've implemented a different technology, the concentrated solar power technology. By doing that, we have the capability now to generate from solar power throughout 24 hours. So through the, it's a thermal energy storage system, and we have the technology used is the molten salt technology to store the energy generated during the day to be utilized during the nighttime. So we can see the, in terms of the PV module efficiency, we can see the enhancement as we've gone throughout the different phases. When we talk about, does this have a laser? No. Anyway, the N-type bifacial, what bifacial really means is you have a PV panel that can generate on both sides. So it takes the reflection from the sun that hits the ground, reflects back on the back side of the panel, and we can get generation out of that. So the same module today can generate a lot more than it used to when we first started the project. So I already talked about we were able to break the levelized cost of electricity records worldwide. These numbers have already been announced. Phase 6, which was most recently announced, we were expecting the price to be higher. The advisors as well told us that it may be higher than phase 5, but alhamdulillah, we were able to achieve a lower number. I'll talk about the CSP, the concentrated solar power technologies, in a minute. But this is something that we are proud of. And if we compare this to the typical gas prices, you can see that this is a lot cheaper. So solar energy is typically a lot cheaper than gas. So one other technology that we've implemented is having a tracking system where the PV modules track the movement of the sun. By doing that, you're able to get more sunlight, more energy to the panels, therefore increasing generation. So that's one thing we implemented in phase 3, phase 5, and phase 6. Now, when we talk about AI, now we have one of the challenges with solar is you have a lot of modules in a large area, right? And we are in a dusty environment. We are in it's in Sih al-Dahal, it's a very dusty environment. And the problem is, how can we clean these panels? Initially, the approach was we have trucks that go and have brushes and go and manually clean the panels. But you have millions of panels, so that takes a lot of time. And because it takes a lot of time, you're not able to clean it with the frequency that they need to be cleaned. So what we've implemented now is a fully automated robotic cleaning system. It's installed on a full array of solar panels, and you have the capability of cleaning 24/7. So if you clean more frequently, the panels are more efficient and they generate at a higher capacity. And that's in terms of generation. But when we look at cost, by doing this, you minimize the required O&M costs when it comes to cleaning. There's no person involved in the cleaning of solar panels now. This is a picture of the sky camera that I was talking about. We've installed this to enhance our weather prediction capabilities. We have weather stations and we have sky cameras that enhance that our prediction capabilities. This just summarizes the advancement in technology in all the different areas. I talked about land. We were able to reduce the required land as we went along with the different phases of the solar park. The PV modules technology continuously advanced. The number of modules that are required to generate the same capacity reduced because of the new technologies of having them bifacial, having them tracking. The levelized cost of electricity continuously decreased. So, the strategy that was set up in the beginning of the solar park was actually correct, because we anticipated technology advancement, we anticipated costs to go down, and we were able to achieve that. And these are just some facts about how many tons of CO2 are being reduced by implementing the different phases of solar park as we go along this journey. So the phase 4 of the solar park is a unique phase because this is where we have the storage capability. And by storage, this enables us to generate 24/7 from solar power, which is a unique aspect to phase 4. We have, within the concentrated solar power technology, we've implemented 2 solutions, the parabolic troughs and the central tower. If any one of you has gone down Al Ain Road, you probably see a tower, a long tower with some lights showing on the top. And that's the central tower that we've already, these are all operational, by the way. And it was inaugurated by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed in December during COP. And we've won 2 Guinness World Records for that. One is for the tallest tower in the world, and one for the largest storage capacity in the concentrated solar power world. So this is what it looks like, the central tower. I'm sure if you pass along Al Ain Road, you'll see it very clearly. These are the parabolic trough units. We have 63,600 collectors that are implemented in the solar park right now. This is just some boring technical diagrams that explain how the concentrated solar power technology works. So we have the central tower can generate 100 megawatts, and the storage capacity is 15 hours. And by the way, UAE in Dubai is one of the few places that have implemented this technology because it is costly. And one thing about technology advancement, technology always advances, but unless you make it economically feasible to be implemented, when we talk about large-scale projects, to me it's useless. As long as it can give me the right ROI, give me the right cost of implementation. So implementing the central tower and the parabolic troughs, we realize it's very expensive. So what we've done is phase 4 is now a hybrid model. It has PV, it has the central tower, it has the parabolic trough units. By doing it this way, through this combination, we were able to achieve the lowest levelized cost of electricity for a concentrated solar power plant in the world. And we were able to maintain the DEWA required return on investment. So these are a few pictures of the inaugurations that took place. As you can see, His Highness himself has a lot of interest in the execution of the solar park. Last year alone, he attended 3 of our inauguration events: Phase 5 completion, Phase 4 completion, and also the signing of Phase 6 with Masdar. So now, you know, the journey is not stopped. We are continuing on this journey to achieve. For now, it's 5,000 megawatts by 2030, but by completing Phase 6 in 2026, we will already be at more than 4,600. So we have a lot of time to implement the final part of the solar park. So now what we are continuously monitoring the technology advancement. We are looking and exploring energy storage capabilities. We are exploring the hydrogen industry as well, just to make sure that we are, you know, looking at all angles in our journey to achieve 100% of our energy mix from clean energy sources by 2050. Thank you very much.
We found that some countries have used the solar parks to make agriculture and to make plants on these places, especially in the areas after the shade and under the shadow. So have you seen this idea implemented somewhere, and have you tried the feasibility of implementing such initiative? This is one part of my questions today. The other part, maybe we are importing the solar panels from Western countries or Eastern countries which don't have the high temperature in summer. And as far as we know, the high temperature affects the quality of the solar panels and leads to reduce the efficiency of producing the power. So have you done any R&D or studies to make our solar panels in UAE capable to withstand high temperatures and to maintain good production of power within our climate?
Thank you, Khoy Adil, for the question. To answer the first question, have we looked into the solar panels or the PV panels that can create agriculture? And, you know, that's a newer technology. We have explored it. We are looking into it, but we haven't reached the conclusion that it is feasible to implement right now. You know, one of the things that I've done last week, I was a judge at the Clean Tech Innovation Awards, and it was one of the presentations was specifically this technology. So it's still new in the market, and when it comes to cost, and we haven't been able to reach a position where we're able to implement this type of technology and you know, get the required cost as per our standards. That's one. The second question was about the climate resilience of the PV models to the environment in the UAE. The approach we've taken is when we go to the market with an RFP, we have the main function specifications, and there we identify clearly what the environmental conditions are in the UAE and in the solar park itself. You know, we have code requirements from the Dubai municipality when it comes to wind speeds, when it comes to you know, flooding, when it comes to different environmental challenges that could potentially be existing in the solar park, and we enforce that. Enforce the main developers to procure PV modules that are suitable to these environmental conditions. And obviously, they go through a full set of lab testing and factory acceptance testing to make sure that they are able to withstand the environmental challenges that are in the region. Any other question?
Very interesting. I'm Dr. Alberts from R&D Center, the head of solar research. So fantastic talk, and I think from your discussion this morning, I can see that you now certainly believe that solar is much better than nuclear.
Absolutely.
On the question you ask is very interesting. One of our big projects on performance and liability is exactly looking at the accelerated lifetime testing of modules now. So we have IEC standards, which most modules are qualified in terms of, and because of our harsh environment, it's not only the temperatures, the temperature differences between day and night, which causes the thermal stresses to the modules. We are now proposing a new modified technical standard, which we are working with international groups, 6 international countries, to revise the technical standard to take into account more extreme testing of modules in our laboratories before being qualified for DEWA applications. The risk is over 20 years when you get the degradation rates of modules. And it's fantastic to see that we are implementing the top technologies at the moment. N-type, it's more stable, more efficient, and more robust in terms of desert conditions. So we're on the right track. But now a comment quickly, just keep in mind that in 5-6 years from now, we will reach 30% module efficiencies with the new technologies, and hopefully there's beyond 5 gigawatts more expansion, because I think solar will become even more attractive, more cost-effective, and a winner for the environment.
Look, I have no doubt we'll reach these kind of efficiencies, but make them economically suitable for me to implement here.
Very good point. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, so this morning we showed some results already on the perovskite silicon tandems we're developing in R&D. DEWA's investing now 8 million dirhams on R&D into tandems. Of course, you're absolutely correct. We can reach the efficiencies already. We can demonstrate it in the lab. It's about the stability now and the cost effectiveness.
Yeah, and the sustainability and how long it can,
yes,
can stay
long-term performance and reliability is the top issue we're actually looking at now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's
and
the point you're making.
You know, one of the things that we continuously talk about is recycling. Now we have more than 8 million modules in the solar park.
Yeah.
What will happen in 20 years?
Yes.
When our contracts expire? So what we've done is that we've implemented in our agreements with the main developers is that a few years before the expiry of our contracts, they come to DEWA with a decommissioning plan. And their decommissioning plan needs to specify exactly what they're going to do in terms of recycling. So that will be up to us to review and approve, and because 20 years from now, probably things will change. We'll probably have different recycling opportunities. We might have, DEWA might even have a facility to recycle, so who knows? So that's the approach that we've taken for the solar park. Any other questions? There's a question in the back. تفضلي.
And the second question is, how often do you monitor the energy saved? Like, do you have a control center where you detect it day by day, or how is it, does it work?
Yeah, so all the panels are connected to the SCADA system, and all the panels, we are able to monitor real-time performance, real-time degradation, real-time generation out of them. Even we can monitor how clean a specific PV panel is right now. So we have that capability, and that's the
interesting
beauty of AI aspect, you know. So typically that's done by the generator, and there's a strong collaboration between them and our transmission department to make sure that they are in direct communication in terms of their, you know, there might be a drop in generation, there might be a shortage in generation for any reason. So there's continuous communication in that aspect. But we do have the capability to monitor real-time data and real-time generation, real-time efficiency as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ghanem Al-Qasim. honored guests. We will now be hearing the final keynote speech titled Leveraging Amazon Web Services and Generative AI for Enhanced Utility Operations, delivered by Mr. Mohammed Heiba, Senior Innovation Solutions Architect at Amazon. Please welcome him to the stage.
And today I'll be speaking about a very interesting topic. I'll be speaking about innovation within the utilities sector and how Amazon Web Services has enabled lots of large organizations to innovate and better support their customers and reduce costs in that area. So here's a very important quote by Jeff Bezos. So he said that we had 3 big ideas at Amazon that we've stuck with for 20 plus years, and that's the reason why we're successful. And these 3 ideas are: put the customer first, invent, and be patient. Okay? Put the customer first, I'll be talking about it. We work backwards from customers, right? Rather than working forward from technology. Invent, obvious, right? But why did he say be patient? Because the fact is, when you innovate, you will be criticized. You will be misunderstood. Amazon Web Services started in 2006. A very large and prominent newspaper called Business Weekly said that this is Amazon's biggest risky bet, right? And criticized that Amazon are not a technology company, they're a retail company, they're an e-commerce company, and they will not succeed in that area. Today, Amazon Web Services is a $90 billion yearly revenue company. It's the majority revenue in Amazon. So it's very important to understand that innovation is not about technology. Innovation is about generating new ideas, mechanisms, processes, culture, architecture, and organization. But here, the key one here is culture. The culture of innovation means that you should be ready to trial and error, try and fail, learn from mistakes. Start from the customer, see what are the real customer pains. And today I'll show you a lot in the utility how we focused on the real customer pains. And obviously, you innovate new ideas and therefore you innovate new technologies that enable such ideas. But you always start with the customer, not with the technology. So, what do customers want? I keep saying we want to start from the customer. Well, customers are, Jeff Bezos always said that customers are always unsatisfied. They're beautifully dissatisfied, right? On Amazon.ae or on Amazon.com, you can find 1 million products, right? But customers don't want 1 million products. Customers want 100 million products. Amazon, we deliver in 1 day. Customers want us to deliver in 1 hour. At Amazon, we deliver, for very low shipping. They want it free. Right? So this is what we call customer obsession, that you're always starting from customer, you're working backwards, you're seeing what the customer wants, and you're always trying to innovate. So today we have about 480 million SKUs on our Amazon Marketplace platform, right? That's a huge number. Again, to provide our customers with huge product choices, because we're always innovating based on customer needs. So also, part of innovation is part of Amazon's DNA. What you see here, for example, Alexa. Today we do billions of Alexa interactions, but what you don't see here is the Fire Phone, because the Fire Phone was a failure, and Amazon shut that project down 1 or 2 years down the line. But the same team that worked on Fire Phone are the team that innovated and invented Alexa. Sometimes you fail, you learn from failures, and you come out much better, and you innovate new ideas, you work backwards from the customer, and you succeed. I'm going to focus now on the utility. So I keep saying, you know, focus on customers, right? Work backwards from customer requirements, not from technology. So when we talk about utilities, what are the main 3 drivers? And also one very important thing, Amazon always focuses on permanent requirements, right? Requirements that are valid today, and they're valid 100 years from now. So the 3 main drivers in the utility industry are flexible generation, flexible delivery, and flexible demand. These are what we call the 3 Ds, right? The 3 main drivers in the utilities industry. Customers want reliability and affordability. They want safety and security. They want agility and time to market. When you talk about utilities companies, they want to go to the market quicker. This will always be a requirement. They want their end customers to be satisfied. And obviously, they want revenue, and they want to reduce costs. And that's a big thing in utilities, right? Things like maintenance, predictive maintenance, things like identifying issues early on. All of these are always permanent requirements that Amazon's focusing, okay, how can I help my customers solve these problems? These problems are valid today, and they're valid 10 years from now. So at Amazon, obviously at Amazon Web Services, we cover the entire IT stack, right? We cover the entire IT landscape. So everything from databases, edge services, analysis, voice and chat. If you're talking about foundational technologies like storage, elastic compute, and network, we've got all of that. Matter of fact, at Amazon Web Services today, we've got over 200 services. But what I'm going to focus on today is AI, ML, and Gen AI. We're going to focus on how AWS enables utility companies and power companies and energy companies to innovate using our AI, ML solutions and Gen AI solutions. That's the main focus for the presentation today. So let's start with these 4 references. So we've got Woodside. So Woodside avoids issues using 200,000 IoT sensors. So we have enabled a large organization like Woodside to monitor their equipment, detect issues, enable preventive maintenance using 200,000 IoT sensors, right? Engie, one of the largest energy companies in the world, right? We support them with advancing asset predictive maintenance with AI ML. So they've developed over 1,000 prediction models, connected 10,000 pieces of power plant equipment, estimated savings of 800,000 euros per year. That's one example. Origin, so increasing customer experience through digitization. So increased use of digital self-service by 170% and increased sales channel traffic by 70%. Again, customer experience, omni-channel, customer analysis, customer sentiment, all of these are very important topics and very important problems that energy utilities and utility companies face, and we support them. And finally, we for PGE, we improve loss detection and asset remove inspection. So again, asset inspection, loss detection, predictive maintenance, all of them are very important problems that we support our customers to solve. So how many AI ML services do we have? We've got about 40 different AI ML and Gen AI services, right? We've got services that help you with predictive maintenance, services that help you in the contact center, services that help you with remote monitoring, such as Amazon Recognition to recognize and detect issues using computer vision. And we've got solutions for the supply chain as well. So we've got solutions that cover you across the different topics and domains in any energy company or any of these 4 topics. So what are the use cases for generative AI? So where can I use generative AI? If I'm a utility company, if I'm an energy company, if I'm DEWA, where would I use generative AI? Well, you can use generative AI in things like customer care, right? In things like capital asset management. If you have you're developing your own software, web platforms, web applications, technologies, you can use generative AI there. Sustainability is a big topic. You can use generative AI for sustainability. Financial planning and analysis, operations and safety management, sales and marketing, and supply chain. So all of them are different topics where you can use generative AI And for supply chain, for example, you can do things like auto-generate contract revisions and red lines, summarize supplier contact terms, automate supplier contract results. These are just some use cases, some examples of how you can use generative AI within utility companies in the supply chain topic. So let's look at Koch Energy. Koch Energy, one of the largest energy companies in Canada. So this is an image which Amazon Recognition, and we use a tool as well called Lookout for Equipment. It detects all the sensors, uses the sensors in that equipment, but it doesn't just analyze the readings, it also detects anomalies. So it detects anomalies within hours rather than days or weeks. It helps you with preventive maintenance. So the compressor temperature and vibration deviations were confirmed by the specialists, allowing them to develop short-term mitigations as well as target a long-term plan for maintenance activities. I'll be honest, I'm not a utility specialist, but this looks to me like something that, if it would have been done without AI/ML, would have took a lot more time, would have cost a lot more money, and probably would have depreciated the equipment more. But when we detect such anomalies quick enough and accurately, we're able to maintain these equipments very early on, reducing heavy losses. Okay. One of our customers as well, the PSE, they use Amazon Forecast to predict feeder loads. So they detect the load on their electricity and load on their generators from sensors in the neighborhoods, and they're able to read that, forecast, produce forecasts, and therefore help them with demand planning. Finally, FC, the fulfill to promise. So they find the optimal shipment option that meets the customer's promise. Sometimes, even though customers are in different industries, but they always go for this solution. Fulfill to promise, how can I find the optimal route for my trucks? How can I find the optimal route to deliver to my customers? We've got so many customers in different industries using AI/ML just for that. So we talked about, predictive maintenance, but what about digital user engagement? So today, for example, if you look at DEWA, customers can speak to DEWA in at least 4 or 5 channels. There's email, there is phone, there is chat on the website, there is the mobile apps. You've got your own AI, I think AI assistant as well, that customers can interact with. So with all these channels, you're getting customer feedback, you're getting customer questions, you're getting sentiment, right? A customer can say he's unhappy on the phone, and then he goes and chats with another agent on the website. So you want to have an omni-channel experience. You want to know that I have a full 360-degree view profile of my customers. I am able to support them. I am able to understand the profile of my customer, regardless of the channel that he's speaking on. So this is something that AI/ML can do, and generative AI can support with. So we support for example, in the contact center, call center, we support with things like real-time caller authentication, conversational chatbots, omni-channel experience, automated identity resolution, real-time agent assistance, conversational analytics. So all of these are topics that AI/ML can support DEWA with and can be of great use for any energy or utility company in the contact center. Finally, we need to understand that AI/ML is a complement to your capabilities. It's not a replacement to your capabilities, right? So we complement your capabilities, we complement your team, we augment your team, right? We do not replace, we do not reduce. So, for example, if you today have things like you deliver accurate answers from a single source, we can support you, complement that. Generative AI can support that with producing summarized answers from trusted sources. So this means that you've, overall benefit, things like you boost agent productivity, reduce the handling time, and so on. So it's very important to understand that generative AI is here to augment and complement and empower your existing capabilities. Amazon Story. So these are actually all images from within Amazon's warehouses, and I'll talk also about NFL and Ring of Power. But if you look at these images, for example, the track throughput, the warehouse inventory count, We use Amazon Web Services a lot within the Amazon.com warehouses. So we use it with the robotics, we use it for worker safety monitoring, we use it to count and report staffing on a machine or line. We use it for tracking throughput. So all of these are examples of how AI/ML supports Amazon in delivering better to its customers. If any of you have watched Ring of Power, right? It's one of the sequels, I think, to Lord of the Rings. I hope I'm not mistaken if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, but we did 786 hours of 4K camera dailies, right? We did all that encoding and the processing of such frames on Amazon Web Services. So again, Amazon Web Services, the Gen AI technologies, AI/ML technologies can be of a great support and a great help in so many topics. Finally, remote inspection, we'll talk a little bit about it. So reducing risk on humans, shutdown cost reduction, operation anomaly detection are all things that we support with in remote inspection. Some of our remote inspection partners, so analyzing multispectral satellite data, vegetation management, remote inspection, visual leader data acquisition, 800,000 poles inspected, 35,000 miles of distribution circuits. So all of these are examples of how we support customers in remote inspections area with our AI/ML technologies. So AI/ML, in general, you've got 4 phases, right? You need to prepare your data. You need to build and choose the right machine learning algorithm and model. You need to train that algorithm and fine-tune it based on your data and based on your expectation and based on the accuracy that you need. And finally, you need to deploy it, monitor its results, ensure its accuracy, and scale it across different environments. So in all of these 4 different phases of a machine learning project, we are able to support you. So, and we're also able to support with generative AI, right? So why would you use AWS for generative AI? Well, we've been using machine learning in our solutions or in our company, Amazon.com, for over 20 years. AWS provides you access to many foundational models. If you know about Falcon, one of the leading worldwide foundational models was developed here in the UAE by TII, and it was all trained on Amazon Web Services technologies, and today it's a role model for the whole region and for the whole world, actually, as a foundational model by a research institution that was able to develop a 40 billion, I think, parameter model, which is the largest in the world. We've got tools to support you, whether you want to apply AI/ML on video or text or documents or documentations and so on. And finally, we are developing our own custom silicon. So if you're interested in any of these topics, I'm obviously here to answer your question. I'm here to present it further on how AWS can support utility companies in AI/ML. So thank you so much. This was all. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. Any questions? Any questions whatsoever? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Heba. I would like to call to the stage Mr. Omar Al-Qasim and Ms. Marwa Al-Naqi to honor the distinguished speaker and for a group photo, please. Mr. Khalid bin Shalban, if you can join us on the stage. For all our speakers, please. Mr. Ghanem Al-Qasim, please, and Mr. Imad and Dr. Vivian as well, and Ms. Nermeen, if she's still here. And Mr. Mohammed Heba, please, if you can please all join us to the stage for a group photo, if you may. I also would like to invite to the stage Ms. Soumitra. She is one of our users of the Signal catalog, to reward her on her utilization of our platform. I also would like to call to the stage Mr. Rayas Ahmed and Ms. or Mr. Alvarso for their continuous effort in utilization of the Future Signal catalog and the Future Trends platform and being part of our foresight journey. Please come join us on the stage for rewarding and appreciation. أحسن تصورونهم حد حد يعني you reward one يوقفون يتصورون بعدين the next better صح؟ You can please come on Miss Soumitra. Thank you so much, Ms. Soumitra, for all your efforts with the Future Shaping team. Mr. Rayas Ahmed. Thank you so much for all your efforts as well. Mr. Alvarso. Thank you so much for all your support. It's appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, as we conclude the Future Next conference, we would like to thank the speakers and the guests for their valuable participation. Thank you all for joining us today. See you again soon. Thank you so much all. Thank you.